Huckleberry.
I'm telling you straight. It's my way or the highway. So anybody wants to walk, do it now.
Groovy.
A lot of very bad things are happening in Nicaragua.
Did you hear that? Yeah. It's a dictor. What's a dictor? To pee with.
You stay classy, San Diego.
Hey, careful, man. There's a beverage here, huh?
Oh, we're getting started. Hit that like. Yes. One more minute. We're up on Instagram, I think. And we're up on Substack. Say hi if you're on those platforms. Let me know you can see me. Where am I? Say hello. Throw some hearts or something in there with the Substackage. I think you can do that, right? Come on now. Come on. Substack. There you go. Look at that. See, that's the thing. I will join you where you are. I do not expect the audience to come to me. Okay. Excellent. Let's look here. Getting ready. Oh, don't. There we go. Go away now, you big stupid thing. Oh, baby. Okay. Let's jump in. I'm a little early. I understand that. But I have good reason. Tariffs, tariffs, tariffs. It's terrifiable. Oh, I need to fix one more thing for the lovely Substack people who aren't seeing anything exciting because the browser alert box isn't there. There we go. Yeah, great thing. It's happening. Okay, much better. Excellent. Right. Let's do this. I think it's time to, hey, everybody, welcome to the show. It's HalSparks Megaworldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. I am HalSparks, and I will be HalSparksing the rest of the HalSparks and fucking night, baby. We said goodbye to our dear friend Val Kilmer today, so I will be dusting off the old I Love Toxic Waste shirts for the near future, which I wore while doing stand-up as a totem over the last couple of years. Like maybe 2 years ago, I was wearing them all the time for all of these things as a reminder that it's okay to be smart and funny. So I feel okay. You know those people where, you know how people are always talking about representation in film and you want to be seen and I want somebody up there that looks like me. I got to tell you, other than the generically white, a couple of people, I suppose if you include Stallone, Seagal, Van Damme, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm technically the same melanin level that they are, but there was no one-to-one in representation. Secondly, my biggest heroes in a lot of cases were Kiss, and they were wearing makeup, and Steve Martin, who was far too pretty to be a stand-up and got more ass than a toilet seat in the 70s because he basically was pretending to be, a snazzy ladies man when he actually was a snazzy ladies man. And then, of course, Bruce Lee. And I got to tell you, I, like a lot of other kids in my generation, didn't look up there and go, finally, when you saw Bruce Lee, you're like, finally, someone who looks like me so I can envision reaching that level. Like it didn't matter. You just kind of looked for traits in people that reflected you, not like, oh, finally, one of my own race. Like it's a little awkward, right? Otherwise, every kid who watched like Chinese kung fu movies, you're like, well, just go watch The Last Dragon and you'll see how like racially insensitive and curious the fixation is on that. Steve Martin was a ladies' man. You're kidding me? Really? You don't know, Gwen? Dear God, woman. Do you have any idea? The type, hold on. Picture. Da-da-da. There's a picture of Steve Martin with a beard. Hold on. Yeah. Let me let me show you something real quick. Let me see. Let me open this. Open image in new window. Yes. Oh, there we go. Open this. Let me show you something. Let me just explain something to you about the fucking 70s, people. This is Steve Martin in the 70s. This is Steve Martin when he was pre-white hair Steve Martin. Let me explain something to you. Like, and there was no like part of me when I was a little kid in Kentucky going, oh, I'm gonna look like him when I grow up. And I kind of look like him. Like I could play his son in something very easily. Just saying. So, but even then I was like, he's whatever, 6 foot something, and I'm, 5'9", $165, fully clothed, soaking wet, right? And so I never really had representation fever because I'd kind of written it off. Like I was never gonna be, Bruce Lee or Muhammad Ali or again, and certainly, even as we've gone on, like I'm a huge Captain America fan, but I don't look like Chris Evans. I'm not going to look at Chris Evans and go like, finally. It's like looking in a mirror. Like, you know what I mean? You look at the the traits in these human beings that you find reflective, right? That's what true representation is. And that was no more true, I would say, than Val Kilmer when I saw him in Real Genius. Hold on, let me see if I can because there was just, quite frankly, like nothing. I didn't share anything, any like looks with him. As a matter of fact, I looked probably more like Mitch than I did Val Kilmer. But that's who you resonate with. You're like, that's what you want to be like, right? It was never Iceman for me. It was barely Doc Holliday. I mean, I appreciated his character acting in it. It was masterful. But holy shit. We offered a job from a lady on a motorcycle. I refuse to answer on the grounds that it may incriminate me, Miles. I don't look like Val Kilmer. I was never going to look like Val Kilmer. He's blonde and blue-eyed and all that stuff. The point is like I didn't have the ability to go, oh, he's reflective of me. And the generically just being kind of tonally the same pigment isn't a thing. So, again, your heroes are your heroes wherever you find them. And Real Genius, and again, Martha Coolidge directed the film, a female director, when everybody's like, why aren't the lady directors getting more credit? And like, name one. And they're like, I can't, it's terrible. Well, first of all, try harder. Secondly, if they are directing shit, go watch the shit they actually directed, and don't get me started on female forward movies and they've never seen Alien. So, and by the way, I'm not. This isn't about a categorization of looks or whatever. I'm very comfortable with how adorable I am. And Val had his look, but it wasn't because it reflected 1-to-1, right? The Saint, I love the Saint, absolutely. I would argue that his Spanish millionaire traveler Martin de Porres character, your English with your chips, your fish and chips. On the plane, I had the chicken. It's so funny and so subtle and so fantastic. This is not Mel Torme, right? And obviously Top Secret, and I mean, just a lot of great work. And fuck Oliver Stone. And don't get me started on that piece of shit who will whip his dick out in front of the fucking cast and women he's talking to women about getting him lunch or whatever with his fucking dick out, like on set, pissing in the fucking, like, just 8 feet away from his director's chair. Fuck Oliver Stone. Hack thief. There, I said it. So, yes, Heat, Willow, oh my fucking God, in Heat. So good. So good in Heat. You had no idea Oliver Stone was gross? Yeah. Yeah, Oliver Stone, who wanted to do a documentary puffing up Putin after the fucking attack? Yeah, that guy. Fuck him. Knowing it was coming. Knowing the attack on Ukraine was coming. Post 2014, knew the next one was coming and wanted to do a puff piece on him like he's just misunderstood. Fuck Oliver Stone and his bullshit. No, 100 times no. Anyways, other than that, I have no opinion. But Val Kilmer, loved him. And there was one, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may, the problematic actor. The story of Val Kilmer as the problem child on an acting set, that he became difficult and hard to work with, and he was like the star power thing of I'm not coming out of the trailer until my co-star comes out of the trailer. And when did that happen? When did Val Kilmer do this? When did he get this terrible reputation? Okay. Think it's that. Yeah. I'll tell you when. When he was working with another asshole who was a real piece of work. Marlon fucking Brando. Who just like he pulled the same shit he pulled on not Heart of Darkness, on Apocalypse Now, where he shows up late. His contract says they have to shoot him out by the time he's done, and he's just making up fucking dialogue because he won't memorize anything and all this kind of shit, and you're trapped on a fucking island with this prick. Just fucking, you want to talk about privilege? Somebody skating on just happening to be on the right street corner when the transition from representational acting to interpretive acting or emotive acting, that when that shit happened, that shift, that shitty shift, that shift happens in film. He just happens to be in the class at the time and ends up getting, credit for what a lot of other people are doing, including James Dean and others. And on a much subtler sense, this is same thing, like young Dustin Hoffman's coming up, Redford, all these guys, they're coming through this thing, but he ends up being this kind of emotive, force because it's loud compared to what we've seen before. And instead of recognizing that, he just became, Brando was a terrific actor up to a point. And I would like to say that The Freshman, the movie he did with Matthew Broderick, I love that movie. I enjoy that movie through and through. But Brando was not a genius. Brando, especially later in his life, floated on the work he had done early. Right? He didn't evolve into something better. He didn't become a better version. His acting grew only with his girth. And when he got to this level, he was literally like the whole goal was to tear down the Hollywood system or something from within at the expense of everybody else working on the movie. If you want to tear down, if you're that talented and you want to tear down the system from within, stop acting. Stop walking around naked with a fucking muumuu, with your dick hanging out in front of everyone, on set, and being gross and being late and all. Like, you're wasting everybody's time. Give the role to somebody else. Don't do it. All right. What was his everyday wear? Basically this. No, this is from The Island of Dr. Moreau, and it was like one of the actors that was in it. It was like his big break, and he almost never worked again. Like, he won't like he definitely did other stuff, but it was like his one starring role breakout, and then he ended up, doing mostly character roles from that point on, and it was like fucking traumatic after that. And the reason Val Kilmer got a bad reputation for not wanting to come to set before, there was this, like, he was jockeying with Brando to see who could go to set first, is because if he went out there and waited for this asshole to come out, he'd never come out. He just waited, because you always ended up waiting for Brando to show up, and for hours. They turned into the Baron from Dune. That's exactly right. It's a wild movie, because they, like, the documentaries on the making of it are through the fucking roof. They're amazing. Yes, 1951, Streetcar Named Desire, absolutely great work, especially compared to the representative acting beforehand and the transition into realistic sort of New York raw stage acting. Again, a transition that was happening in acting as film had transitioned over years from silent to sound to color, all that kind of stuff. That arc was creating new performers and new performances. It was a matter of timing. That said, if Val Kilmer went out there and waited in the island fucking heat like everybody else, he'd have fucking heat stroke waiting on his mark for this dickhead to come out of his dressing room. And did Marlon Brando get the bad rep after that, other than being like, wow, he must be a genius? No, Val Kilmer did. And Val Kilmer's wife divorced him, Joanne Wally Kilmer, while this movie was going on, because he was away so much, and they were separated and all that kind of stuff. I love The Salton Sea too. I also love the Murder Me Again, I think it was called, the one he did with his wife. But she divorced him while this movie was going on, and he wanted to go home and deal with it because they weren't shooting anything. Because this motherfucker wouldn't come out of his trailer or his cabana. They had to build a fucking building for him on this island. Yeah. Val dressed like him, sitting in that thing and talking like Brando was so good. I know, because at a certain point they were just like, this is fucking nuts. I have to sit around and wait for this dude. Said Marlon Brando or Mark Zuckerberg. It's really a coin toss. I love The Saint too. And I'm gonna miss Val Kilmer, and I have to tell you, I enjoyed the most recent Top Gun movie quite a bit. Love the movie. And I got to tell you, the scene with him and Tom Cruise broke my fucking heart. I wept in the theater when I saw it. I went out and saw the movie in the theater. And that scene, yeah, Val Kilmer is dead at 65. And that scene where they're basically saying goodbye, was so fucking emotionally shattering. He died late yesterday, I think. He is going to be, for those of you who don't know, Kurt Russell bought him a plot at the Boot Hill Cemetery, which is the famous OK Corral Cemetery, the graveyard in Tombstone, Arizona. It is a part of American history. I'm gonna get all teared up. Where Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday became Western legends. He will be buried. I mean, he bought him the plot. I honestly, I don't know if his family will interdict and he'll be buried someplace else. But the idea is that Kurt Russell bought him a plot. When you're not allowed to do that anymore, they're not burying any. The idea was they're not burying any new people there. But they made a special dispensation so that they could do it, and he will be buried in the Tombstone Cemetery. So if you're ever in Tombstone, Arizona, you can pay some respects to Val Kilmer. And hold on.
I'm your huckleberry.
You can say that when you're walking around. Just the, and I would argue, I love Tombstone. I think everybody did a great job in that movie. I wouldn't take anything away from any of the performances, but Kilmer was the anchor. He was the anchor of that movie. His, the fact that he was dying the whole time, his weakness and strength paralleled was just so well done. And yeah, just really, it held the whole, it held the whole thing together, I think. So, anyways, on that note, I'm on a little bit early so we can pay a little bit of extra respect to Val today. But he will be, if things go as as planned or whatever and I think it's been a while. Like he's had this plot bought for him by Kurt, I think a while back, because he's been sick for a while. He'll be buried there. So, by the way, I don't think Doc Holliday, the real Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp, are not buried there, but the men they killed are. The men that were that's the graveyard of the men that they fought, as well as the people in the area and the graveyard of the city. How you never know how it's going to hit you. Yep. So, anyways, you guys know.
I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said, I drank what?
The ability to be brilliant and silly. That movie, Real Genius, came along at just the right time for me.
Would you classify that as a launch problem or a design problem?
And and I think, yeah, I had the other one in there. It's in such a mess of like all the things I've had over the years of, maybe it's down here. That's right. Yeah, it disappeared from my soundboard. I have to dig it up again. Son of a bitch. Well, either way, I will find it. The dream where 1,000 naked women are screaming and throwing little pickles at you. Oh wait, I found it.
Something strange happened to me this morning.
Was it a dream where you see yourself standing in sort of sun god robes on a pyramid with 1,000 naked women screaming and throwing little pickles at you?
No.
Why am I the only person that has that dream?
You're not, Val. I had that dream after seeing the movie, and it was fantastic. So, we're gonna miss him, and thank you guys for being here with me. It's HalSparks Megaworldwide. Now, of course, we'll go live, live after the fact, to the gaggle. This is the ramshackle gathering of And by the way, the whole like, why aren't you wearing a hat? Or wearing a suit. It's the White House. Da da da. Trump thinks that like these folks dress like this all the time, so they're told to show up in costume to him. They are human props for his use. So they ramble on about this for a little while, and people are, you know, mulling around this finger food. I got a finger for you. He's fat and he is dumb and he's orange and here he comes and his wife is nowhere to be found again. He honestly doesn't know what to do with himself if Lee Greenwood isn't playing.
Nice crowd. What a good-looking group of people. Well, we have some very
White House crowds are the greatest crowds in the history of the crowd world, right?
good news today, and a lot of good things are happening for our country. Please sit down.
Hey, real quick. I know this is a bit off topic, but has he said anything about the 4 soldiers that died in Lithuania? Except through Caroline Levitt, like, oh, the president is very upset. Nothing.
My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day. Waiting for a long time.
Sorry, he forgot his opener.
Oh, hello there. April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again. Gonna make
Mawa. First of all, America is the wealthiest country on earth, even with our debt. The debt is governmental debt. It's not, you could argue that the taxpayers over the course of their lifetime, but that we're not all being choked to death by this. As a matter of fact, the reason the government has taken on debt is so that the American people don't have to on an individual basis. Not like we have, you know, a snowball's chance in hell of fighting off tuberculosis alone.
wealthy, good and wealthy.
Good and wealthy. That's my favorite candy. It's licorice with a shit coating.
For decades, our country has been looted, pillaged, raped, and plundered by nations.
Jesus Christ. No, it hasn't. Fuck it. The French wine prices are not raping America, you cretin. And especially coming from an adjudicated rapist.
Near and far, both friend and foe alike. American steelworkers, auto workers, farmers, and skilled craftsmen. We have a lot of them here with us today. They really suffered gravely. They watched in anguish as foreign leaders have stolen our jobs, foreign cheaters have ransacked our factories, and foreign scavengers have torn.
And American corporations move their manufacturing to cheaper labor markets so that the goods and services they make are less expensive, so Americans could move into effectively management and information technologies as your baseline for the entire economy, as opposed to manufacturing, because eventually that part of the economy will be automated and those jobs will just evaporate no matter what country they're in. I'm sorry, I interrupted you with your fantastical idea that in AI factories, people are going to show up with pickaxes and hack away at chunks of AI.
Our once beautiful American dream. We had an American dream that you don't hear so much about. You did 4 years ago.
Yeah. When Biden was president.
And you are now, but you don't too often, and for many years and decades even, you didn't hear too much about. Our country and its taxpayers have been ripped off for more than 50 years, but it is not going to happen anymore. It's not going to.
It stops now. I think if you want to, I mean, look, who am I to say he's a masterful speaker and dipshits all over the world hang on his every mispronounced, barely coherent word. So, but I would say just like, but that stops now would seem like a oh, except it's not going to. I see. All right. Happen.
In a few moments, I will sign a historic executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world. Reciprocal, that means they do it to us and we do it to them. Very simple, can't get any simpler than that.
Believe me, I don't think anyone could get any simpler than you. As simpletons go, you got gas, kiddo.
This is one of the most important days, in my opinion, in American history. It's our declaration of economic independence. For years, hardworking American citizens
You mean isolationism?
forced to sit on the sidelines as other nations got rich and powerful, much of it at our expense.
No, not at all.
Now it's our turn to prosper, and in so doing, use trillions and trillions of dollars to reduce our taxes and pay down our national debt, and it'll all happen very quickly.
Very quickly. I know some of you are saying 3 months, 6 months of pain, and we'll be through this. No, weeks. In weeks, we'll know it hasn't worked, and we can just declare war on Iran and pretend this never happened.
With today's action, we are finally going to be able to make America great again, greater than ever before.
Yeah. It's very hard to pronounce as an acronym.
Jobs and factories will come roaring back into our
Yes. Yes. Everyone, get ready. These factories are going to need workers so bad. Your 12-year-old's going to skip middle school to go work there because, man, these jobs are coming back, especially these giant automated car plants that have like 9 people working in them.
country, and you see it happening already. We will
We do. Largely, you mean the chip factories that Biden brought back that are being built?
supercharge our domestic industrial base. We will pry open foreign markets and break down foreign trade barriers. And ultimately, more production at home will mean stronger competition and lower prices for consumers. This will be
Ultimately is doing a lot of heavy lifting because ultimately is sort of in the realm of infinity somewhere in the next couple of decades. Because what do you think the cost of dismantling a factory and moving it and building it up from a country with lower labor costs to a country of higher labor costs? What do you think the time frame about that is, and how long before the prices of stuff made in that factory go down after they've gone up massively because of the labor costs over here?
need the golden age of America. It's coming back, and we're going to come back very strongly.
We are. It's going to happen. We're going to do it. You know, just like my healthcare plan fucking killed it.
We're pleased to be joined on this momentous occasion by Vice President J.D. Vance. J.D., thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, what are the odds the vice president would be in the vicinity of the White House?
Thank you very much. Where are you, J.D.? No, that's...
Right in front of you. Yeah, yeah. I mean, remember when Biden didn't know his wife from his sister because they were over his shoulder because they had told them where they were going to be, and he looked over like, my wife and my sister. Oh, God damn it. You guys swapped on me. Get over here. Which was adorable and normal and everybody would do. And Trump's like, where's JD? Where's this JD fella I've heard? Oh, there you are, right in fucking front of me.
That wasn't too hard to find.
Yeah, it was. He's right in front of you, and it took you more than immediately.
I was looking, you know, he likes to take a low-key attitude, so usually we sit right in front. He's gaining a lot of confidence, Mike, isn't he? And nearly my entire cabinet is here, as well as...
He didn't think to look right in front of him for his vice president because normally he parks him way over by the shrubs.
Speaker Mike Johnson has done an amazing job.
Yeah, and especially the job he's not doing this week because he was scared off by the mean ladies.
And with the great success we had last night in Florida, we have a majority of 7. And 7's like a lot when we had it at 1, right? You've done a fantastic job. And many of the members
No, you refilled seats of people you took into the cabinet. They were just sitting empty.
of the House and Senate are with us. Senators, Congressmen, thank you all for being with us. We appreciate it. For decades, the United States slashed our trade barriers on other countries, while those nations placed massive tariffs on our products and created outrageous non-monetary barriers to
This is the other thing, too, is that he's looking at the tariffs and they aren't all that bad. That's one of the big problems that they've had, is that they're looking at the tariffs and like, this is just 25%. This is 12%. This is not, I mean, their protectionism around certain industries because they consider them crucial, kind of like we're thinking about chips now and we're thinking about antibiotics now and those kind of things. And some of those countries are like, shit, if America swamps our industry and we don't have that industry anymore, and something shitty happens, we're fucked. If we don't make that thing anymore and we have to rely on the United States and they stop providing it for any reason, because I don't know, they have just like an orange scrotum running the place with piss-colored cotton candy hair and basically a civil rape conviction. If that happens, and our dairy farmers have gone out of business, then what, right? So you have to have some level of protection to maintain the market you have at all.
decimate our industries, and in many cases, the non-monetary barriers were worse than the monetary ones.
Yes, the emotional baggage that went along with it.
They manipulated their currencies, subsidized their exports, stole our intellectual property, imposed
So just China we're talking about.
exorbitant VAT taxes to disadvantage our products, adopted unfair rules and technical standards, and created filthy pollution havens. They were absolutely filthy, but they always came to us and they said, we're violating, we should pay for it.
Again, this is all China, and yet they're one of the lowest. I mean, I think he adds 34% tariffs to them. They already got 25, and he cranks it up a little bit.
Detailed in a very big report by the U.S. Trade Representative on foreign trade barriers, and I'll just hold it up for you. It's available, and you don't have to pay too much. As I understand it, you'll pay nothing. It's a lot.
Yeah. That is it made. You will have to pay the tariff on it because he had it printed in China. Let's see. I'm trying to find a like news. Here we go. I think it's China. I mean, what about this? Anybody? This is 6 days ago. No, it's fine. It's probably been solved. All right. Trump here is seen here holding a book he's never read and never going to.
A lot of work for something, actually, because it's a special book. It's very
special. It's his third favorite book after Art of the Deal, the Bible, and fourth after the Anarchist Cookbook.
It's very upsetting when you read it, when you see what people have been doing to us for
well, spoiler alert.
years. This all happened with no response from the United States of America, none whatsoever. But those days are over. Let me offer just a few examples of the vicious attacks our workers
Oh, vicious. They're vicious, you guys.
have faced for so many years.
Oh,
The
so many
United
years.
States charges other countries only a 2.4 tariff on motorcycles. Meanwhile, Thailand and others
Thailand. It does start with a TH. It can throw you if you don't read. Thailand. The Thailand.
motorcycles. Meanwhile, Thailand and others are charging much higher prices, like 60%. India charges 70%. Vietnam charges 75%, and others are even higher than that. Likewise, until today, the United States has for decades charged a 2.5 tariff. Think of that, 2.5% on foreign-made automobiles. The European Union charges us more than 10% tariffs, and they have 20% VATs, much, much higher. India charges 70%, and perhaps worst of all are the non-monetary restrictions imposed by South Korea, Japan, and very many other nations. As a result of these colossal trade barriers, 81% of
By the way, he means emission standards, you know, because they recognize that a cheap car that pukes pollution into the sky also gives everybody fucking asthma and cancer. And that tends to be what would you call a secondary auto expense. And nobody knows how to expense it on their, you know, with their business or in their taxes. I mean,
cars in South Korea are made in South Korea. 94% of the cars in Japan are made in Japan.
yeah, it's this big.
Toyota sells 1 million foreign-made automobiles into the United States, and General Motors sells almost none. Ford sells very little. None of our companies are allowed to go into other countries.
They're not? When did that happen? So our companies are not allowed to go into other companies or other countries. So was I eating so the Starbucks I was at was theft? Is that another IP theft example? American companies aren't allowed to go into other countries. It sounds, I mean, I feel like he's read the report upside down.
Say that, friend and foe, and in many cases, the friend is worse than the foe.
Well, you don't have a lot of trade with your foes, dum-dum. Well, again, how many Iranian dates are we are we importing?
Of trade. But such horrendous imbalances have devastated our industrial base and put our national security at risk. I don't blame these other countries at all for this calamity. I blame former presidents and past leaders who weren't doing their job. They let it happen.
This is also to make himself look smarter. He can and suck up to foreign leaders that he can later, I guess, build hotels in their countries and shit. That's the plan after the fact.
Let it happen to an extent that nobody can even believe. That's why, effective at midnight, we will impose a 25% tariff on all foreign-made automobiles.
Yeah, you see the clench that's happening there? As soon as he said it, he's like, these guys are going to like it, but everybody told me it's a bad idea. So,
Thank you.
Meanwhile, we go to audio directly from the Wall Street bathroom. Yeah, not going well.
Brian, I'd like to have you come up here for a second, okay? I just see him sitting. He's been a fan of ours, and he understands this business a lot better than the economists, a lot better.
Great. Well, then let him explain it. Come on up, Brian. I'm sure Brian understands this stuff better than the economists, and he's not just going to come up there and kiss your ass and basically do a version of Trump, Trump, Trump.
Anybody? Brian, say a few words, please, would you? Thank you, Mr. Thank you. It's a great honor to have you. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. President. I grew up just north of Detroit, Michigan, in Macomb County, known as the home of the Reagan Democrats. My first vote for president was for Ronald Reagan. I thought that was going to be the best president I ever saw in my lifetime until Donald J. Trump came along.
Because Reagan would have never asked me to wear a safety vest and a visor. Also, you can't invite him and let him wear a suit because people won't know what he does. Is that the issue? Believe me, the handlebar mustache will give it away. Nobody's gonna think he's a poser.
I have watched my entire life. I have watched plant after plant after plant in Detroit and in the Metro Detroit area close. There are now plants sitting idle. There are now plants that are underutilized. And Donald Trump's policies are going to bring product back into those underutilized.
That's right. They're going to bring product back to those underutilized factories.
Plants. There's going to be new investment. There's going to be new plants built. And the UAW members, and I brought 20 of them with me. They're sitting right over here. We support Donald Trump's policies on tariffs 100%. So, Mr. President, we can't thank you enough. And in 6 months or a year, we're going to begin to see the benefits. I can't wait.
In 6 months to a year, we're going to begin to see the benefits. Well, how long can you hold your nose and submerge yourself in ice water? How long?
See what's happening 3 or 4 years down the road. Thank you.
3 or 4 years down the road. I think what'll happen is you'll see a total collapse or a bunch of automated factories that haven't brought any jobs but drag on the power plants, and everybody gets rationed power because they're pulling it and there's nobody that works there.
Mr. President.
Well, I feel like I understand it at least better. Trump's awesome, and it's eventually going to work. Totally, bro.
He got it right from the beginning. He got it before almost anybody else.
Well, could it? Is it okay? Real quick, is it okay if we wait and see if it actually works before we give him credit for being onto something? I just don't want to, go on a stock buying spree because this guy decided, he was like, I think this is a winner, and I'd like to see if he actually picks actual winners instead of just promo winners. Like
over there, they got it too, and we won the state of Michigan. We won.
What, they get measles?
Almost all of them, but we won Michigan by a lot, and I want to just thank you all. The auto workers were fantastic. The Teamsters were fantastic. Everyone.
And they are not going to regret this at all. I assure you. Yeah, I assure you.
It's pretty good, I will tell you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You're going to be very happy very soon. And
not very soon, 6 months to a year, and then eventually we'll see, in maybe 3 to 4 years. Very soon in the scale of rich people, worrying how long it'll take them to run out of money. That's that, 3, 4, 5 year window. That's a long time. It's pretty, but the average person, weeks.
Probably see what's happening with all of the, not only car companies, but car companies in particular. See it with all of the ones they're moving, they're announcing day in, day out. You're seeing it. Nobody's ever seen anything like that with.
We haven't seen it so far. So, yeah.
Actions. We're also standing up for our great farmers and ranchers who are brutalized by nations all over the world.
Brutalized. Oh, God. Just forced to grow and sell soybeans. Apparently, Europe doesn't want high fructose corn syrup.
By the way, imposes a 250 to 300% tariff on many of our dairy products. They do the first can of milk.
Yeah, that's when you think of groceries, it's sort of an old-fashioned term, and you picture somebody with a big leathery bag. Big a grocery bag made out of gingham with a big old can of milk. What I like is he's so in touch with the average person. You know what I mean? I feel like the bond is really growing. I think everybody, when finally a president that knows in what container most of us consume milk. I mean, Biden probably thought it came in cartons or bottles or some bullshit. He probably ate cereal and poured it himself like some kind of an asshole. And the milk. I swear to God, most of his brain farts come out of nowhere. But I guarantee he thinks, that little tin milk cup for coffee that's on the tables at restaurants and stuff, and probably in the Mar-a-Lago dining thing. He thinks that that's the can of that's the can of milk. I know. I saw somebody go evaporated milk. He's not thinking that far down it. This motherfucker has never seen a can of evaporated milk in his fucking life. Get out of here. But he has seen those little like tabletop milk dispensers for coffee, right? And they sit there at fucking charity events he didn't give to, that he shows up at acting like he owns the fucking place. Fucking canned milk. Yeah. It's canned milk time again. You know it always wins.
The first little carton of milk at a very low price, but after that it gets bad, and then it gets up
Yes, what? One can, one carton, and then it's $2.50. At least he caught himself.
to 275, 300%. So when they're figuring what's Canada charging, they say, oh, about 2%, 3%. But take a look at what happens down the road when you look a little bit.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so you're counting it by unit. So if it's 2.5%, so what? 200. So 100 cans of milk. You think that means they're charging us 250%? Really? You don't understand that tariffs are per unit or lot, or how do you think this shit works? I mean, do you think it's like by the ton, like steel for everything?
It's not a pretty picture, and we don't like
No, that's true.
it, and it's not fair. It's not fair to our farmers. It's not fair to our country. And
It's unfair to Canada to expect them to produce as much milk as fucking Wisconsin does by itself.
countries like Canada, you know, we subsidize a lot of countries.
We don't subsidize countries. We buy more from them than they buy from us because we're a bigger economy, you fucking weirdo.
Keep them going and keep them in business. In the case of Mexico, it's $300 billion a year. In the case of Canada, it's close to $200 billion a year. And I say, why are we doing this? Why are we?
Because we buy more than anybody does. Because we have a trade deficit because they couldn't possibly fucking buy from us as much as we buy from them. They couldn't do it. They don't have the money. They're not big enough. They don't. What are you talking about? And like, oh God, the idea, half of this shit is just like American cars made in Mexico on the cheap and then by American companies.
This, I mean, at what point do we say you got to work for yourselves and you got to? This is why we have the.
What do you think? Canada needs fucking tough love? You got to buy as much from us as we buy from you, or you just got to suck it up. Or maybe they just stop buying from us altogether and just buy from someplace else. They got shoreline, asshole. Fuck, why don't they just set up like a dairy waste station with Europe in Greenland? Then what are you going to do?
Deficits. This is why we have that amount of debt that's been placed on our heads over the last number of years. And
yeah, especially during your presidency. You're responsible for a third of it, fucknut.
We're really not taking it anymore. Through non-tariff barriers, the European Union bans imports of most American poultry. You understand? They say, we want to send you our cars, we want to send you everything, but we're not going to take anything that...
We're not going to take your chickens because they're full of antibiotics and steroids, and we consider them, like, unsafe for consumption. By the way, ask RFK Jr. why they don't take the fucking chickens.
You have Australia bans, and they're wonderful people and wonderful everything, but they ban American beef, yet we import.
All right. Slams USB beef in. What's it? Trump was a. Hold on. Does American beef? Australian Broadcasting Company. U.S. President John singled out Australian beef as he outlined his laser. Australian ban says they're wonderful people, but we imported 3 billion of Australian beef from them just last year. They won't take any of our beef. They don't want it because they don't want it to affect their farmers. And, I don't blame them, but they're doing the same thing right now at midnight tonight, I would say. Australia's had a ban on importing U.S. beef since 2003 after the U.S. experienced an outbreak of mad cow disease. They're a fucking island, stupid. They're a continent, but they're all off by themselves. Are you doing any well? And meanwhile, Lee Zeldin's getting rid of the regulations that'll stop mad cow disease.
$3 billion of Australian beef from them just last year alone. They won't.
Because rich people in this country feel safer eating Australian beef than American beef. Maybe do something about that. Maybe incentivize people to buy American beef because you raise the standards to match the standards of these other countries, which raises the value of the product you have in the country instead of just driving it down to the floor and going, who gives a shit if they glow in the dark.
Any of our beef. They don't want it because they don't want it to affect their farmers. And you know what?
Well, yeah, they don't want their farmers to get mad cow disease.
Blame them, but we're doing the same.
Hey, what's Charlie doing over there standing in the field with a chainsaw? I don't know. He just hit some of that cows that eats cow's meat, and now he's acting all fucking weird.
Right now, starting about midnight tonight, I would say. And China charges American rice farmers an overquota, it's called, a tariff rate of 65%. South Korea charges 50%. Actually, they charge different, from 50% to 513%.
So they charge 513%. He just missed the other digit.
Japan, our friend, charges us 700%, but that's because they don't want us selling rice and other thing. Who can blame them, Madam Secretary? Agriculture, great job you did on eggs, by the way.
Madam Secretary Agriculture, great job on eggs, buying them from Turkey to bring down the cost of eggs for for restaurants and processing plants. Also, is America really seeking to enter the fucking rice market?
Egg prices came down 50%. You got them down 50%. Once we got involved, they were going through the sky. The egg prices, they were going through the sky. And
yeah. And it's ironic, since chickens can't fly, that the egg prices were going through the sky. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hal, who talks like that other than someone that is, I don't know, suffering from oxygen deprivation, or perhaps took the wrong pills in the wrong combination? And you'd be right. But some idiocy is organic. This is, one of the things we can talk about, farm goods. This is organic, grass-fed idiocy.
You did a fantastic job. Now we have lots of eggs, and they're much cheaper, down about 59% now, and they're going down further. We charge 2.8% for so many things that other countries are charging 200%, 300%, and 400% for. If imposing tariffs and protective barriers made nations poor, then every country on earth would be racing to eliminate these policies, and China would be the first online. They run a very strong country.
Yeah. They have a lot of tariffs and a lot of barriers. And let's see. Whoops, sorry. I don't need Sky News. I just need regular news. Get back out of here. Hold on. I'm trying to find the. I would yeah. Here's you want to the irony. This is it. This like why is China spending billions to get people to open their wallets? That's right. China is using quantitative easing. QE. You got to get that extra money out there. Just spend money out, literally hand out money to spend to drive up consumer demand because and they're still not doing it. It's a great economy. It's going very well. And you should follow what they're doing. Hey, maybe do 3 red lines on real estate investment.
But
that worked out.
They're not first in line, and the American people are paying a very big price. From 1789
I don't know what that fucking means. They're not first in line.
to.
By the way, welcome to the show. If you're just joining us now, I started a little bit early. It's HalSparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Patreon.com/HalSparks. Thank you, patrons, for helping build this show into something worth watching and helping us to expand by at least having a base of this. Thank you to everybody who gives super chats and bits and all that stuff on the different channels, members on YouTube. That helps us stay afloat. This is how this turned into a real thing as opposed to a hobby that I have to chuck because I got to go on the road again.
1913, we were a tariff-backed nation in the United States.
Yeah, 1913. I mean, who wouldn't clamor for the days of 1913 Middle America? 1913 America. Yes. Yeah, hold on. Images. 1913. Let's see. The Cowboys. Right. It's in 1882. There's Wyatt Earp. 1881, but proportionally, we were doing great. Hold on, find a great picture of like. Hold on, you know what? Screw that. I was looking at frontier stuff. I don't even have to go that far. In 1913, Henry Ford introduced his workers to the assembly line, ladies and gentlemen. And these were the good old days. That's right. Who doesn't have a Uncle Stumpy who used to work in one of these factories? Hand fastening. Look at the jobs. Oh, the jobs. Look at everybody just jobbing their ass off. Just jobbing left and right. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hal, but that was 1913, and this is 2025. And in 2025, none of these fucking people would have a job because all of this would be automated. Shit, most of the stuff they're doing would be like prefabricated into the thing they're working on. It would already come with the bolt part like cast into the piece. You had an Uncle Stumpy? God damn it. I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong about it, am I? Okay, here we go. Charlie Chaplin. Factory Work by Charlie Chaplin. Let's give it a look. Oh, come on. Watch it on YouTube. Let's do this. The golden age, ladies and gentlemen. Modern times. What was it like? Take us back. My goodness. What a wonderful time it was. The industry, the industrialness. Americans working very hard.
Just coming through loose on bench 5. Attention, foreman.
Fabulous. Look how wonderful. Working on the line, a good sense of worth, because your work gave you a cause, and your cause was to work, and then at the end of the day, you felt like you'd accomplished something. And if you got behind, who needs thumbs anyways? Maybe monkeys are always upset because they have... Yes, also insects. Comedy jokes. Comedy jokes. Also, for those asking, I have given up my hope that the Chaplin mustache will make a resurgence for comedians. As a student of historical comedy, I hold the dream, close to my chest. But I as a pipe dream at this point. I don't think we're going to bring back the Chaplin mustache and make it funny anytime soon. I'd love to, but damn, just not. Yeah, I'm sure I in that way I feel like I share this with the Indian people that they're never going to get the swastika back. And the Horseskreuz, or whatever the German word for it, the hooked cross, as they call it, but swastika is actually the Hindi word for it. Oh yeah, back when labor laws were exactly, look at that, tighten those, tighten. There you go. And if you slow down, you get hit. Uh-oh, his gadget got stuck. Oh no, and I won. Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, the industrialness. This is what we all have to look forward to. Back to steamy, sweaty, dangerous, amputating factories of old.
This was proportionately the wealthiest it has ever been. So wealthy.
Proportionately. Yeah, but proportionately.
And when you say per capita, there's many per capitas. It's like per capita relative to what?
But how did that proportion work its way out to the average person as far as wealth? Was the country very rich, but there were singular robber barons that were way wealthier than all the other people on the planet, and then the average American might as well have been Guatemalan for all practical purposes.
Fact that in the 1880s, they established a commission to decide what they were going to do with the vast sums of money they were collecting. We were collecting so much money so fast, we didn't know what to do with it. Isn't that
funny? And they never thought healthcare. My goodness, we could put a doctor in every city.
Nice problem to have. What do you think, Marco? Good problem? Marco would love that problem.
He'd love to have it. He'd love to have that. I don't know what to do. So much money, I don't know what to do. Marco.
We don't have that problem.
He just said, duh. During your economic speech, I think it's in general, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's bad form to actually say duh.
Marco would love that problem. But we don't have that problem anymore, but we're not going to have it very much longer, I will tell you. But they collected so much money, they actually formed a commission to determine what they were going to do with the money.
Yeah, because they didn't have a budget. You weirdo. The government was still forming.
We're going to give it to it, how much? Then in 1913, for reasons unknown to mankind, they established the income tax so that citizens, rather than foreign countries.
Oh, I know why. Mankind knows, because the cost of the taxation fell on the poor, as it would with tariffs, because it raises prices. To lower prices where people won't starve to death, they added an income tax so that people who were wealthy and doing well could help pay their fair share, instead of offloading the cost of that onto the customers and basically living a tax-free life.
Would start paying the money necessary to run our government. Then in 1929, it all came to a very abrupt end with the Great Depression, and it would have never
happened
if they had stayed with the tariff policy. It would have been a much different story. They tried to.
Yeah, we would have been blockaded during World War II, and our industries would have collapsed. That's what happens when you rely on tariffs, because you open yourself up. The rest of the world, if a country wants to stop you, they just stop the shipping. They just either blow up the ships that are bringing in goods or taking them out. And if you rely on tariffs, money from stuff coming in, you destroy your customer base inside the country and you stop ship from coming in. Suddenly they got no money to run the fucking government. Stupid.
Bring back tariffs to save our country, but it was gone. It was gone. It was too late.
We've always had tariffs. It was not gone.
Nothing could have been done. It took years and years to get out of that depression, far longer than even FDR had that office right over there for a long period of time. The ramp system, that's rather intricate, was built because of him, and every time you walk up, you think of him, and he did a great job in many ways, but it
I do. Yeah, every time I walk up the road, I go, hey, oh, President Hot Wheels, right? That's what.
lasted long beyond his terms, as you know. But it's not too late any longer, and we're going to start being smart, and we're going to start being very wealthy again. We're going to be
Really? You plan on, you're going to start being wealthy and smart again. How will we know? Are you going to fly a little I'm smart flag? Is it how when will this occur, and what will be our indicator of when you think you've finally gotten smart?
Oh, hello there. Wealthy as a country because they've taken so much of our wealth away from us. We're not going to let that happen.
No, they have not.
Truly can be very wealthy. We can be so much wealthier than any country. It's not even believable, but we're getting.
You're right. It's not believable.
Smart. Nearly a century later, in the face of unrelenting economic warfare, the United States can no longer continue with a policy of unilateral economic surrender. We cannot pay the deficits of Canada, Mexico, and so many other countries. We used.
Yeah, we can. Yes, we can. This is not the reason why costs are going up, like, or even why the government debt has gone up. The reason the government debt is motherfucker. The reason the government debt has gone up. Why? Why has the government debt gone up? I'll tell you why. 9/11, 2008, COVID, right in a row. And because of 9/11, $6 to $7 trillion worth of expenditure on the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, with no return in that regard. Just bad money after good, or good money after bad, or whatever. All the money was bad. And we're still the wealthiest country in the world. Exactly. The debt we have and the issue we have didn't come because we're being too nice to our people. We leveraged Social Security against the Iraq War, the bailouts, which, by the way, made money for the U.S. government, $500 billion in the end. And then COVID just happened. And COVID blew a $20 trillion hole in the U.S. economy, and we plugged it with 9. For real. Like, for fuck's sake. This isn't because Canada is charging us too much for fucking donuts. America's financial issue, especially with debt and deficit spending, has nothing to do with goods we buy from other countries and the difference in amount that we buy. Nothing.
Do it. We can't do it anymore.
Fuck.
We take care of countries all over the world.
We don't take care of countries. They have stuff we want and we buy it. We don't take care of them.
Their military, we pay for everything they have to pay, and then when you want to cut back,
we pay for everything they have to pay. Trump has a secret plan. Yeah, this is the big unveiling of the secret plan.
A little bit, they get upset that you're not taking care of them any longer, but we have to take care of our people, and we're going to take care of our people first.
Yeah, but this isn't about tariffs. If you don't want to, like, support places, allies militarily, then fucking say it, you wuss.
I'm sorry to say that.
Make it about fucking cheese and eggs and wine and cars. That was an organized clap. That was fucking somebody in the White House going. He thinks you're not paying attention. He hasn't gotten. You have to cheer him on the regular. It's like you need an occasional slap on the ass to maintain your erection at that age.
And today we're standing up for the American worker, and we are finally putting America first.
Also, phrases and bumper stickers and words that say things. because words and phrases that make true phrase thing saying, word and repeated, and phrase again, also phrase, also bumper sticker hat thing.
In Sleepy Joe Biden's last year in office, the United States hemorrhaged 100,000 manufacturing jobs, and the number was going through the roof at level.
I think technically if you're hemorrhaging jobs, it doesn't go through the roof, it goes down. Bad lines don't go up traditionally. I mean, maybe the roof was on fire and that's how they went through. And no, we weren't.
Never seen before. And our trade deficit reached a record $1.2 trillion, which...
Yes, because compared to the rest of the fucking world, we had more money to spend and we kept spending it. It's why the Fed couldn't lower interest rates, because consumers were still buying shit.
Unheard of.
It's completely heard of. It means we had more money than the rest of the world put together. Again, look at the bigger economies in the world that are allegedly nipping at our heels. China, Russia, even the EU. They're nowhere near the number they said they were. China's economy isn't at $18 trillion. It's closer to 7 at best. That's why we have $1 trillion deficit with the rest of the world, because there's no fucking way they can buy as much as they used to, because it was always bullshit. And they ran out of steam before we did. It was effectively like an economic version of Reagan's Cold War strategy.
Beginning of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made. It was a horror show. I was able to terminate it. They all said you'd never be able to get it out. We had to get approval from Congress to get it terminated.
You didn't terminate it. You did a modification of it, and apparently it's worse.
With that deal, it was the worst trade deal ever made by far.
Yeah, but we didn't have to do a fucking trade war to right any of the wrongs. We were able to just fight elements of it where people tried to skirt it in court and make up for it through other industry. But apparently the USMCA, who it just was ass from the start.
Since the very beginning of NAFTA, our country lost 90,000 factories. Think of what that is, 90,000. Think about putting a map up and putting tax on it. You wouldn't have enough room. 90,000. I said, is that possible? We had to check.
Oh, God. Hold on. NAFTA is Biden's fault, and we lost 90,000 factories. That will be the thing. Okay, hold on. Talking about being accurate, although pre-pandemic numbers are worth examining. Historical data shows statistics show that manufacturing employment has risen from 789,000 since Biden took office in January 21. That qualifies as close to 800,000. The first 3 quarters of those job gains represent a return to pre-recession levels, but historical post-recession patterns show that it's rare for manufacturing jobs to bounce back at all. Biden gained manufacturing jobs. Manufacturing job. Joe Biden, fact-checking Joe Biden on the creation of 800,000 manufacturing jobs. Joe Biden took a recent victory lap on social media, touting the number of manufacturing jobs created on his watch. Social media people took issue. The hard number, according to that, was they created 175,000 over the manufacturing jobs that existed in 2020. He added 175,000 on top of that. And the idea that they were just going to magically come back, which a lot of these, we have a real problem with this, the post-COVID and even post-2008, because Biden and Obama don't get the credit for salvaging the industries. The assumption was, well, the jobs that were there are just going to magically reappear at some point, aren't they? No, they aren't. That's not guaranteed. Joint Economic Council. Let's see. Biden is underway. Okay, this is January 19. You got U.S. on the verge of a boom for American manufacturing. He needs to convince voters to vote for long. In swing states and factory towns, Biden is making a resurgence in domestic manufacturing central to his re-election pitch. He's highlighting a surge of investments across the nation as evidence that an economic agenda is centered on reviving the country's industrial core is just starting to pay off. Yeah, that's when he's talking about what he's got. Oh, there was a thing. Let me show you this, though. This is fun. So I want to say, who was the Bloomberg? Let's see. The whole thing where he got his investment money, like how much of it is actually real. It's such a like, oh my God, the rolling article tops on these things. Search, where's the search thing? Bloomberg, where's your search, you weirdo? Okay, here it is. Trump investment. Oh, quit it. I keep hitting on this new keyboard. It's not new. It's just on the Mac instead of the PC. The emoji button. Trump investments. 1.4 trillion, something like that. Something along those lines. Trump says, come on, you guys. I saw this article earlier. It's going to be on. Hold on. I know what I'll do. I think it's still open on my phone, possibly. Yeah, baby. Yeah, there we go. So I will send it to there. Yes. Here you go. So, yeah. Okay. So, this is an article on Bloomberg. Trump's $1.6 trillion corporate pledge parade. What's real? What's not? They talk about the Masa Yoshi-san guy who everybody calls Masa. He's gonna, he said he's a great, like, he said $100 billion. He said, could you make it 200 billion? He's like, Trump barely broke a smile. 200 billion, he repeated, like as if he's forcing him to do it, whatever. And then he had ChatGPT and all these people come in and say they're going to put 500 billion on U.S. technology infrastructure within 4 years. Doubts about whether the venture could even pull off an investment that big set in almost immediately. Such intense pressure that business leaders are feeling to pledge support to Trump and the economic prosperity promised on the campaign trail in the form of big, round, marketable figures, real or not, job creating or not, new or not, including a parade of commitments. Since Trump was elected to his second term, Apple Incorporated pledged to spend $500 billion in the U.S. over the next 4 years. Eli Lilly plans to drop $27 billion to make drugs in America. The French shipping firm CMA CGM SA committed $20 billion last week. There, altogether, the corporate pledges amount to roughly $1.6 trillion in spending, and at least 426,000 jobs promised, according to a Bloomberg analysis of announcements made since Trump's election, the vast majority of which either referenced the new administration or Trump has gone out of his way to take credit for. That's more than the capital spending of all companies in the entire S&P index in the last calendar year. Right. So these are the areas where it's in. It's all tech, by the way. And this is the part that I wanted to show you. Many of the spending plans aren't new. Altman's lofty goal of building hundreds of billions of dollars worth of AI infrastructure, for example, was in motion under the Biden administration. Some, like Apple's, closely track with what the companies have already spent in recent years. They're just acting like it's new, so he'll go, oh, so fucking dumb. Like all these promises are like, yeah, we're going to keep investing on the level that we're investing now. Thank you, Gene.
4 different times, and it was actually somewhat higher than that. And 5 million manufacturing jobs were lost while racking up trade deficits of 19 trillion That was the worst trade deal ever made as a result of these gigantic.
Wait, it's like, so over the course of the years, the trade deficits of every year that NAFTA existed, fuck me. This is the math they're doing. The year of all trade deficits put together, not the ones including NAFTA, like the U.S. and Canada in that regard, for every year that it existed worldwide, stacks up to $19 trillion. Because we did not have $19 trillion worth of trade deficits with Canada and Mexico over the course of the existence of NAFTA since mid-90s.
Foreign nations now own $26 trillion more of American assets than think of this, than the Americans own of their own foreign assets or.
I'm sorry, I'm starting to black out from the stupid. What? Run that by me again, shithead?
Think of this, than the American.
No, hold on, back up, because this is what?
As a result of these gigantic losses, foreign nations now own $26 trillion more of American assets than think of this, than the Americans own of their own foreign assets or other foreign assets. The United States can no longer produce.
What? Sorry. So foreign countries own more of their property and their stuff than we own of their property and their stuff? What? Fuck me. Like, I know that there's probably some economic principle that he's trying to articulate because it's written in the fucking teleprompter for him, but his understanding of it is so fucking weak that it literally, like, it boils your brain if you try to work it out.
Enough antibiotics to treat our sick. We have a tremendous problem. We have to go to foreign countries to treat our sick. If anything ever
to treat our sick, yes, we have to. Anybody who needs antibiotics, we have to ship them to India.
From a war standpoint, we wouldn't be able to do it. We import virtually.
Yes, we would. We produce antibiotics and drugs in this country, but they are cheaper when they are made in places like India so far. Automation is going to change that over the next fucking decade. And so that whole talking point is just going to fucking evaporate because time moves forward. And he's going to try and take credit for it as if AI and automation were an invention of, that he came up with in Trump Tower on a fucking napkin, like the Stonehenge prop in Spinal Tap. For fuck's sake. We get 90% of our antibiotics and pain relievers and stuff from other countries because they're cheap. They make so many of them that they sell to the rest of the world. So you can buy them at a lower price. We buy 90% of them from these countries because they're at a lower price. If we couldn't get them anymore, we would just have them here. We just make more of them here, and we would stockpile more of them here at a higher cost. But what makes every fucking CVS and Walgreens and fucking like Target or Walmart or like the Kmarts that still exist, when you walk through there, go look sometime at the just rows of fucking ibuprofens that are available to you. Just rows and fucking rows of different brands and variations of them. The reason they're that available and that fucking cheap is because they're made in other countries like that. If we got into deep shit, that's all those available options would shrink down to about 3. The price would go up slightly, but only for a short period of time until they ramped up production at those places to make up for the fact that the cost versus the return became worth it.
All of our computers, phones, televisions, and electronics
are assembled overseas.
Dominate the field, and now we import it all from different countries.
Right, because it's cheaper. Because we can have better stuff cheaper because of labor costs. Yeah.
Single shipyard in China now produces more ships every year than all of the American shipyards combined. Think of that.
Yeah, but they sink. They suck. They sink and they suck.
And it was a business that we used to dominate. We used to dominate it totally.
Yeah, because very few countries in the world could even afford a fucking ship. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you know who used to dominate American ships? Whoever made the fucking Mayflower at one point. We used to dominate the car market before other countries began to have the capacity to make fucking cars.
In short, chronic trade deficits are no longer merely an economic problem. They're a national emergency that threatens our security and our very way of life. It's a very great threat to our country. And for these reasons, starting tomorrow, the United States will implement reciprocal tariffs on other nations. It's been a long time since we even thought of that. We used to think about it a lot. We didn't think about it for many decades. And
right, because cheap goods became more available to the average American. But since you don't give a fuck about the poor bastards that voted for you, and you don't care if their prices go up, because fuck them, they've got too much junk in their trailer as far as your crowd thinks. Like, when a 10% difference or a 20% difference even on a like a I don't know, a private plane is a lot, but it's not going to break the bank because you're already in for a penny in for a pound. If a plane is $1.2 million and it goes to $1.5 million, it's not that big of a difference for somebody who's in the position to buy something that costs $1.2 million in the first fucking place. But when it starts affecting groceries, a word you seem unfamiliar with, or just like basic commuter vehicles, it's a huge difference. To somebody who can only afford $35,000 for a car, it going to $42,000 is a drastic change. And I don't think I think they have so much maybe this is affluenza. Maybe this is just proof of affluenza. Maybe this fucker just can't understand that difference, and he thinks that he waves his hand and fucking McDonald's fish sandwiches just magically appear like they're made in the replicator on Star Wars, or he can just yell, Diet Coke, and somebody will bring it to him.
See what's happened. For nations that treat us badly, we will calculate the combined rate of all their tariffs, non-monetary barriers, and other forms of cheating. And because we are being very kind, we're kind people, very kind. You're not so kind when you got ripped off with your salaries. My auto worker friends and my Teamster friends and all of the unions that typically voted Democrat, they're not voting Democrat anymore because worker, whether
Well, we'll see about that.
union or non-worker, they're for the Republicans now. That's what happened. But we will charge them approximately half of what they are and have been charging us. So
what's the calculus? How do you calculate this? What are the non-monetary tariffs and the limitations they put on? What if they just don't take our fucking beef because of mad cow? How do you put what's the monetary value on you have to eat poison meat?
the tariffs will be not a full reciprocal. I could have done that, yes, but it would have been tough for a lot of countries who didn't want to do that. I'd like to see the chart if you have it. Could you bring it?
Yeah, bring up the chart. Let's hold the chart like a fucking gibbon.
Howard, this is our great Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick. Thanks, Howard.
It's great. It's a good one. This will work it out for everybody. Yeah. Hold on. There's got to be a version of it someplace, right? Hold on. We got to bring it up. I gotta find it. Hold on. Trump, reciprocal, 50% reciprocal tariff chart. Allow. There's the. This is the. What to know? Where is it? This is the fucking stupid part of it. Show the. Okay, here's the actual chart. This is what he's doing. Full list of countries hit with 50% reciprocal tariffs. Okay, so this is their equation. China, hold on. China, 67% tariffs charged. They're going to charge them 34%. European Union, 39%, because it's going to be 20% on every country in the European Union, in theory. Vietnam, 90%. They're going to get 46%. Right. By the way, as Apple is moving their iPhone factory there. Taiwan, 64 is going to go to 32. So just 2 points behind China. Okay. Japan, 46 to 24. India, 52, 26. South Korea, 50, not 500, but 50, it'll be 25. Thailand, 72. None of these people are doing 200%. Where the fuck is Canada on this fucking list? Is it not? Are they assumed to be separate? Cambodia is getting fucked. 97%. Because we got to get into that sweet Cambodian market. We need some of that Cambodian money. You know, those people in Cambodia living too high on the hog. Yeah, Canada has its own list. Donuts, coffee, and hockey. Why'd the audio? Okay. What happened? I lost the audio on this guy for a second. Back up, stupid. Did the audio drop out of that video or something? What happened? Okay, no, it's something. It's an issue. System audio. Okay, I got a browser. I don't know why this is in here, but we'll see. The Safari's in there. What's happening? Okay. I mean, not that anybody cares.
You bring it up, Howard. This is our great Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick. Thanks, Howard.
I don't know what that was about. It
So,
just got weird for a second.
If you look at that, China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So,
Also, and trade barriers. So, I don't know, like 100% things that can't come in at all. So, that 50% of everything.
67%, I think you can, for the most part, see it. Those with good eyes, with bad eyes. We didn't want to bring, it's very windy out here. We didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing. Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So it's 67%, so we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think.
Jesus Christ, this is like used car salesman. It's becoming like Crazy Eddie's White House trade war.
In other words, they charge us, we charge them less. So how can anybody be upset? They will be, because we never charge anybody anything. But now we're going to charge. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. You know, you think.
What? Hold on. All of these were like, the European Union's like, if you think about it, 100% on everything. And now it's 39%.
The European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. 39%. We're going to charge them 20%, so we're charging them essentially half. Vietnam, great negotiators, great people. They like me, I like them. The problem is they charge us 90%. We're going to charge them 46% tariff. Taiwan.
Well, again, what the fuck is, like, again, there's a bunch of stuff that's made in Vietnam now that's moving out of China. And the whole purpose, like, with this trade thing, it's now cheaper to move your manufacturing back to China from Vietnam. That's how fucking stupid this is. And we could trust Vietnam. We can't trust China. But if you have a factory and you're worried about tariffs at all, but you can't move it back to the United States, it's now like a huge financial win to move your factory back from Vietnam to China. This helps Xi Jinping. And what the fuck, like, are Americans like, God damn it, if we could just carve off a piece of that fucking sweet Vietnamese consumer market.
Where they took all of our computer chips and semiconductors. We used to be the king, right? We were everything. We had all of it.
They didn't take it. Oh, they just showed my video on CBS. I swear to God, if I can't buy an electric car after all this with that footage, as much as it's seen, that's nuts.
Now we have almost none of it, except the biggest company is coming in. We're going to end up with almost 40%. Lee Zeldin's working to get their approvals. And it's an amazing company. Mr. Wei, of one of the great companies of the world.
One of them, TSMC, you mean?
World, actually. They're coming in from Taiwan, and they're going to build one of the
TMSC, Taiwan superconductor.
Biggest plants in the world, maybe the biggest for that. But 64%, we're going to charge them 32%. Japan, very, very tough. Great people. And again, I don't blame the people for doing it. I think they're very smart in doing it. I blame the people that sat right in that Oval Office, right over there, right behind the Resolute desk or whichever desk they chose.
Yeah, he has this weird fixation ever since Musk wiped a booger on his desk.
Japan, 46%. They were charging.
At this point, why not just turn the fucking thing into a game show? Seriously, just at some point, just go. Who has Sri Lanka as being the worst? Like the most affected. Sri Lanka, give it up. We'll see. Hold on, I got to see if is it in here or do I have that? Sri Lanka gonna be our sample music. This thing. I thought I had. Son of a bitch. Oh, there it is. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Who picked Sri Lanka, ladies and gentlemen? Going once, going twice. Sri Lanka, 88% tariff, 44%. If you were moving your business out of China to Sri Lanka, fuck you, because we want to break in there and flatten the economy of Sri Lanka. That's right, Sri Lanka, everybody. Yep. Who picked that? That was fantastic. And who wants to think that next in line that it would actually be better for you to do business in China than it would be to do business in Laos? That we consider Laos more of a problem. Do we? Going to the panel now, and the judges will have to walk on this one. Ladies and gentlemen, is Laos a worse place to do business than China? And that's correct. Yes, Laos had it coming. That's the game show. Thank you.
Just 46%, and much higher for certain items like cars, little items like cars. 46%, we're charging them 24%. India, very, very tough, very, very tough. The Prime Minister just left, and he's a great friend of mine, but I said, you're a friend of mine, but you're not treating us right. They charge us 52%. You have to understand, we charge them almost nothing for years and years and decades, and it was only 7 years.
That's because their poverty rate is through the fucking roof. And unlike China, they're not a developing country with a space program and a military set to rival the United States. Here's the thing. If you start your military buildup and you state at some point that you're going to have a military greater than developed countries, then you're no longer developing. You're good now. If you can take care of your poor and pay all your bills enough so you can have a fucking space program, you're not developing anymore, China. And at least India never did that. India's like, we got a lot of people and we're developing. We got a lot of places where there's no phones, there's no paved roads, there's no fucking toilets. We got a lot of work to do.
Years ago, when I came in, we started with China in charge. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China in tariffs. And they understood, honestly. President Xi understood. He said, look, I understand. And the other countries, and they all understand. We're going to have to go through a little tough love, maybe. But
yeah, a little bit. And by the way, the tough love means, you assholes who have to pay for stuff.
They all understand. They're ripping
He doesn't have to pay for anything. He's president of the United States, and he's allegedly rich. He's got meme coin to fall back
us
on.
off, and they understood it. Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe. He was a fantastic man. He was.
What about the guy who's current prime minister? What's his name? Do you have his name on the tip of your tongue?
Unfortunately taken from us, assassination. But I went to him and I said, Shinzo, we have to do something at trade.
He unfortunately taken from us, assassination. You mean unfortunately he was assassinated? He was taken from us. He was assassinated. Just, you know what? Just say nouns.
It's not fair. He said, I know that. I know that. And he was a great gentleman. He was a fantastic man, but he understood immediately what I was talking about. I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. He said, I know that. And we worked out a deal, and it would have been a much better deal, but frankly, there were many years left on the deal that was made previous to my getting there, but it was something.
Left on the deal made previous. Then why? What? You couldn't renegotiate the deal? You did USMCA.
If you look at Switzerland, 61% to 31%. Indonesia, Malaysia, Cambodia. Oh, look at Cambodia, 97%. We're going to bring it down to 49. They made a fortune with the United States of America.
What are you talking about? Yeah. Oh, yeah. The fucking Cambodia. It's the Dubai of the near Far East.
United Kingdom, 10%, and we'll go 10%. So we'll do the same thing. South Africa, 60%, 30%, and they've got some bad things going on in South Africa. You know, we're paying them billions of dollars, and we cut the funding because a lot of bad things are happening in South Africa. The fake news ought to be looking at it. They don't want to report it. Brazil.
Like what? Just go on and tell everybody about it.
10%, 10%.
Explain, like, I love when you do game of telephone with Elon Musk's racism.
Bangladesh is 74%. So you see what's going on. Pakistan, 58%. Sri Lanka, 88%. So what we're doing is we're taking not the full, we could take the full 88%. Thanks a lot, Howard. He's doing a very good job. How's he doing, all right? I think you better take it with you. It's not going to last very long. He's going to put it, it's going to follow you down with the wind. I brought a hat just in case it got too windy, but here, would anybody like a hat? I'm not giving it to a cabinet. I'm giving it to the auto workers. Come here.
Violating the Logan Act every single day.
Thank you, fellas. Get it. That's it. That's it.
Get it, you chimps. Grab at it. Grab that hat, you fucking losers.
They deserve it more than our cabinet.
Deserve a hat?
Our cabinet has plenty of hats. But
so they don't deserve it more. It's that your cabinet's up to here with the fucking hats already.
You see the numbers. The numbers are so disproportionate. They're so unfair. At the same time, we will establish a minimum baseline tariff of 10%. You notice that on the chart, and that'll be on other countries to help rebuild our economy and to prevent cheating. So we're going to have a minimum of cheating, and we're going to be very severe on the people that at the gate that watch the tariffs and watch the product coming in, because there's been a lot of bad things happening at the gate.
Oh yeah, the gate. Which gate would that be? At Baldur's Gate, or?
Because the money is so enormous that you're talking about. There's never been probably anything like it in terms of the enormity and.
Well, I mean, I think anything that people haven't seen before is probably the reason they haven't seen it is because it's either really big or really small.
There are a lot of bad things happen at the
gate.
People that do the check-in and
at the check-in at the gate.
They're looking at 10-year jail sentences if they do play. We're going to treat them so good, but if they cheat, the repercussions are going to be extremely strong.
Oh, really? We don't have rules about people at our ports of entry and goods coming into the country? We don't have any rules about that right now, that maybe if people break the law, they have...
Foreign nations will
Also, sorry, are you raising the sentencing on criminal activity via executive order now?
finally be asked to pay for the privilege
No.
of access to our market, the biggest market in the world. We're right now the biggest market in the world. We had a great
Yeah, asshole. That's why we buy more from other countries than they buy from us.
country 4 years ago in terms of the economics. We were doubling up on China. We were doing so well. Nobody was
No, we weren't. We didn't. China didn't have a trade deficit with us.
going to catch us, but so much of it slipped away over the last 4 years under
Slipped
Biden.
away.
I campaigned on this policy
Again, no, it didn't. It nearly like full employment.
throughout last year, and today that promise was made, and it was also a promise, as you know, that was kept. Promises made, promises kept.
That's what it says in the teleprompter. You could have just said that part. And
To any company that objects to our common sense reciprocal tariffs, again, reciprocal, back and forth, back and forth.
yes, my sister, my daughter, my tariffs, my taxes, my tariff, my tax. It's a tax and a tariff. It's a tariff and a tax. I can't take it anymore.
And I call this kind reciprocal. This
Jesus Christ. Fuck, man. Like, as bad as this stuff is, the fact that he can't speak is worse. At least Biden had a fucking stutter.
is not full reciprocal. This is kind reciprocal.
It's a kind of reciprocal in that it's not.
But what we do is we cut it.
I call it wuss out reciprocal. You're a reciprocal pussy. There you go. You like that? Wear that around your fucking neck. You're too weak to do reciprocal, and you were talked out of it by all the business leaders around you, including Besant. They're like, dude, if you do reciprocal, we're fucked forever. They'll just reroute markets around us, and we'll be like twice the size. We'll be 3 times the size of Canada with none of the business.
In half, we charge them. My answer is very simple. If they complain, if you want your tariff rate to be 0, then you build your product right here in America, because there is no tariff if you build your plant, your product in America. And
what if we have no interest in building it here? It's just shit we want to buy from somewhere else because they have it, and we don't need to fucking do it.
seen companies coming in like we've never seen before. Likewise to all of the foreign presidents, prime ministers,
like we've literally always seen.
Kings, queens, ambassadors, and everyone else who will soon be calling to ask for exemption.
Yeah, they're soon going to be calling you.
From these tariffs. I say, terminate your own tariffs, drop your barriers, don't manipulate your currencies. They manipulate their currencies like nobody can even believe, which is a...
Right. You mean that their currency isn't as valuable as ours? What about the countries that use ours, like Argentina and Turkey and some African countries that use the dollar? How the fuck do you manage it? How is that not building it in the United States, since it's technically done with American dollars?
Bad thing, and very devastating to us.
Ugh,
and start
terrible.
buying tens of billions of dollars of American goods. Tariffs give our country protection against those that would do us economic harm. And many people were looking to do us economic harm. Maybe not so obviously, but they were doing tremendous economic harm. But even
Jesus Christ, just say economic harm and move on.
Even more importantly, they will give us growth. These tariffs are going to give us growth like you haven't seen before.
Cool. Yeah. Welcome to the age of trust me, bro.
And it'll be something very special to watch. I am so...
There will be growth from it. Prices are going to grow.
Looking forward, and Brian, it's going to happen even faster than you said. You know, you might say, but it's already started.
Yeah, because of the Biden factory.
It's already started. Work's already begun on plants all around the country, and you see that as before. These are
yes, the stuff that was financed 2 years ago in the infrastructure bill,
big
the rescue
rich
package.
companies. We have $61 billion started on a big plant going up. It's going to be announced over the next 2 days, and
Yeah, it's the big $61 billion plant where they make the plant stuff. The that plant wouldn't be cannabis,
We
would it?
already started work. Many of these the biggest companies in the world, they've committed to build. We're going to build, sir. And they
Yeah, we're gonna keep building all these fucking factories that don't actually employ anybody.
came here to see me, and they wanted to know if they could have a press conference. I do as many as I can. I'm pretty busy trying to stop Russia and Ukraine and the Middle East. We got to stop that. We got to stop the Houthis, which we're making tremendous.
And the blowfish.
They like shooting ships down and out of the water, sinking ships.
Yes, they like shooting ships down and out of the water. That would be sinking.
They get a kick out of it, but they're not getting such a kick.
Yeah, they do it for kicks. Just, you know, it's just a weekend party thing.
Out of it now, are they, Mr. Secretary? They're not getting such a kick out of that now.
No, they're not getting a kick out of it right now. They seem to be kind of angry and okay. Well, let's look. Let's see what the Houthis. Let's see. 6 days ago. What does it say? They're just getting a kick out of what are they getting a kick out of? Oh, they're getting a kick out of threatening the U.S. with advanced air defenses. And they're getting a kick out of firing on. There we go. Oops. Why are these so many ads come up on these stupid pages? Okay. Let's see. Houthis. 16. Like, you know, it's for kicks. I'm going to talk about here you go. According to Fox News, Yemen Houthis fire surface to air missile at US F-16. Whoops, I didn't move it down. There you go. February 22nd, 2025. They're really scared of you. Like, once you're in, they're like, oh, we better not mess with America now.
But here are just a short list of some of the companies that have already announced and committed to investment. And this is a company that built its factories and its plants in China. Apple is going to spend $500 billion. They never spent money like that here.
Yes, they did. They always spend money like that here. And one of the other reasons why they're like moving one of their chip manufacturing facilities here is because they want defense contracts. And the law passed under Biden specifically allocates funds to guarantee we have access to the highest quality chips for our military, and they must be made in the United States.
To build their plants here. SoftBank, OpenAI, and Oracle, great companies.
Yeah, overlapping money.
Are investing $500 billion almost immediately. NVIDIA.
Almost immediately over the course of a decade.
A hot company is investing hundreds of billions of dollars. They just announced TSMC, the biggest, most important company in the world of chips from Taiwan, with no investment from us, is investing $200 billion. And
yeah, TSMC is the way company, Taiwan superconductor manufacturing company.
They said the reason was, number one, the election of November 5th, and number two, the tariffs. They don't want to pay the tariffs, and the way.
No, because the law about chips and shortening the supply chain and the funding to make sure that that happens and to align Taiwanese interests with the U.S. interests so that we come to their rescue.
They're not paying it is to build their plant here. So we're going to go from almost no percentage. We used to have 100% of the chip market. Now it's.
Yes, when you used to put it together with your fucking thumbs.
All in Taiwan, almost all of it's in Taiwan, a couple of other countries, but mostly in Taiwan. And think of it, we had 100%. We lost it because of people in that office that didn't do their job. They allowed.
No, because of the advances around the world. Hold on. see. Apple's, hold on, allow. Yeah, here you go. Boink. There you go. Apple's San Jose acquisition. In December 2015, Apple acquired a 70,000 square foot facility at 3725 North 1st Street in northern San Jose from Maxim Integrated Products. The facility, previously used for low volume manufacturing and R&D, is now referred to internally as Athena. The purchase is seen as a strategic move to strengthen Apple's R&D capabilities and potentially support low volume manufacturing. That's what they started doing, and they built up to it. The facility is located near Samsung's semiconductor campus, where they also build chips in the United States. TSMC's Arizona fab and Apple's commitment. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company is building a highly advanced chip fabrication plant in Phoenix, Arizona. Thank you, Joe Biden. Apple is committed to being the largest customer at this facility. This is an overlap of that same money. They're spending money and these spending. Okay, Apple's gonna spend their money at this factory. So that's a double up. Is money traveling through there? Absolutely. Is it going to mean more jobs out of that? No, it's just the main business that's going to be done will be done out of there. That they want their chips made at this TSMC factory. Facility is expected to manufacture tens of millions of leading-edge logic chips, powering products like 5G, 6G, smartphones, autonomous vehicles, and AI applications. Mass production of 4-nanometer chips began late last year. Gee, who was president then? TSMC plans to invest $65 billion to build 2 more fabs on site by 2030. $65 billion by 2030 for those 2 fabs. Apple Silicon Manufacturing. Apple designs its own silicon chips for its own products, but outsources the manufacturing to companies like TSMC. The Apple Silicon series, including M1 chips, are manufactured by TSMC using leading-edge processes. That's what they're going to have made there. So Apple has a fab, an R&D, and low-volume fab. It's been in existence since 2015. They have another one as well, but for the newer chips. Does Trump know this? Does he know that there's a reason why they call it Silicon Valley? It ain't the tits. That's Dallas, I think.
Stolen from us. Johnson & Johnson, great company, $55 billion. Eli Lilly, 20.
Oh, yes, the people who made hold on. Do I have I should have a button here. There's yeah. It didn't work. Son of a bitch.
Captain's log.
There you go. It's amazing that they that the people who made the jab are suddenly your friends.
Captain's log.
Mm-hmm.
$7 billion. Meta is investing $500 billion. Wow. DeMac is investing $20 billion. CMA, CGM, $20 billion. And then you have Merck and Clarios, Stellantis, General Motors, GE Aerospace, Honda, Nissan, Hyundai are all putting in billions and billions of dollars, and they're committed 100%. So. And we've never had, and this is after 2.5 months. This is after just a short, this all took place as soon as we came.
No, they all came in and said, hey, the money we're already spending, if we just tell him what starts this year, he'll think it's because of him, and he'll give us breaks. He'll give us breaks on all of our shit if we're building some of it here. Because Hyundai and these other companies make other stuff too outside the country, and what he's going to do is give them a pass. Like, hey, we make our cars here, so can we just import our other stuff? Yeah, as a company. So Hyundai stuff made in South Korea, for example, that stuff will get a pass as well. That's what this is all about. Apple will, contribute to this factory and talk about it this way, and then they'll get a pass on the tariffs coming from Vietnam and coming from China or wherever else they're building.
Out with what everybody wanted to do. I watched a gentleman.
Because if he doesn't, like, the price of an iPhone is going to be $3,000.
Today on television, used to work with Lee Iacocca, a very respected automobile person, and he said, because they're asking people, they try and get as many negative people as they can, but they can't find them too much. It's pretty hard to find in terms of what we're doing, especially.
If you need somebody in a pinch, I'm here to shit all over your daydream. I mean, I'm glad to do it. And I can be specific if you want to. I'm very comfortable talking in abstracts and generalities about what a piece of shit you are, but I can actually back it up with details too if you need. Glad to do it.
When they see all this investment, they said, so tell me, what do you think of what Trump is doing from the automobile standpoint? He said, I can't believe it. Somebody is finally, he's an older guy, real pro, really top guy with Lee Iacocca. He said, I never thought I'd see the day when this would happen, where somebody had the courage to go and do what has to be done. This is transforming our nation. Our entire nation is going to be transformed, not only with the cars, but
yeah, you could say that into basically an airport mall. You know the money you pay for everything at an airport because of all the extra payments for security, getting the stuff in, the transportation rules about getting it into an airport. That's why it isn't just that you're a trapped audience, is that for a fucking bag of chips that is in a 7-Eleven, there's maybe like a nickel's worth of travel aspect to each bag of chips. But if you put it in an airport, it's like 30 cents. Everything you sell in an airport has an extra layer of security that goes along with it, coming and going. Even getting rid of the trash adds another level of security, and processing it, and even the availability of some things, what they can actually get through, it limits what comes in there. So the price goes up. There is basically a tariff on everything sold in an airport. So welcome to airport prices.
on every single other item that's built, we're going to become an industrial powerhouse. And he said that so beautifully today. In fact, I'm going to find out, I'm going to get a tape. And Bruce, I'm going to get that tape and I'm going to send it to you out in Long Island, and you're going to play it for the people and all your union workers and your non-union workers out there.
Yeah, when they lose their jobs.
You got a pretty even split. But we have, so far, it looks like we're going to have about $6 trillion of investments, and you wouldn't do that in years in this country over the last number of years. $6 trillion, and that's going to be much higher by the end of the year. And think of what $6 trillion.
Well, I mean, you'll get less for it. The same $6 trillion is going to cost you $10 trillion by the end of the year, but only because the value of that money, it won't go as far.
Dollars is, you wouldn't have even a small percentage of that under this other system. We're going to be an entirely different country.
This other system. Yes, we are going to be an entirely different country. I would be shocked if we don't start speaking German and go and have groups door knocking in sharp outfits.
And it's going to be fantastic for the workers. It's going to be fantastic for everyone. There will never have been a transformation of a country like the transformation that's already happening in the United States of America. It's an
wait till the shitty Tesla bots start, like taking care of old people near stairs.
Incredible thing to watch, and it's incredible to meet with the top people that you read about, very wealthy people, or people that are great managers and executives and presidents of big public companies, and to watch the enthusiasm they have now that they didn't have. They gave up on our country. They went to foreign countries and they built.
That's not giving up on this country. They were using the consumer base of this country while lowering costs by moving manufacturing to countries with cheaper production.
Companies are pouring into our country at levels never seen before, with jobs.
And still never seen.
Jobs and money to follow, and it's really beautiful. In the coming days, there will be complaints from the globalists and the outsourcers and special interests and the fake news, always fake.
And the stupid people who go, wait a minute, prices are going up. What the hell? What do you mean I'm paying this?
News will always complain. But never forget, every prediction our opponents made about trade for the last 30 years has been proven totally wrong. They were wrong about NAFTA. They were wrong about China. They were wrong about the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which would have been a disaster if I didn't.
No, well, it would have been a disaster for China.
Terminated. If I didn't terminate that, United Auto Workers, you would have had no jobs in this country. You would have had no jobs. It was all going to other countries. In my
No, it was taking manufacturing out of China and spreading it around and protecting them against it, so we wouldn't have to rely on China for all of this shit.
first term,
And if it had happened, if TPP, you motherfuckers, you anti-NAFTA freak out crowd, that and Hillary jumped on this during the campaign. Obama was trying to tell everybody, but it was just trade deals were unpopular. It was an election year, and everybody was like, TPP, I don't like trade deals. They're so blah, blah, blah. Okay. If that had gone into effect, the impact on COVID would have been cut in half in terms of America's supply chains, because there would have been 8 or 10 countries to pull stuff from, and we wouldn't have had to rely on China. We would have had a coordinated effort working together. It would have been safer. Your stuff would have been more secure. They wouldn't have stole a bunch of shit.
they said tariffs would crash the economy. Instead, we built the greatest economy in the history of the world. And again,
Nope.
I have great respect for President Xi of China, great respect for China, but
Why? Respect for China is one thing, but why do you have great respect for President Xi? I mean, maybe this is just like leader to leader language. He's a dunce. He can't read very well. His 3 red lines policy was probably it was the thing that led directly to the Chinese economy cadavering.
they were taking tremendous advantage of us, and I commend them for that. I say, hey, if you can get away with
How? It's our wholesaler. Again, all stores have a trade deficit with their wholesaler.
it, that's okay. But, they understand exactly what's happening, and they probably, most of them are saying it's about time they did something, but, and they're going to fight, and they're going to fight fair. Everyone's going to fight. It's like, I say to the leaders, look, you got to take care of your country, but we have to start taking care of our country now.
All right. And if they're going to take care, we were doing that, and we're kind of doing it in through trade representatives and stuff like that. But if you want to declare an all-out war, then taking care of your own has new meaning.
We can't do what we've been doing for the last 50 years. From the day of my election, the stock market went up in my first term 88%, with NASDAQ going up 155%, more than any president has ever had in any term in office, by far.
Nope.
And I think we're going to
That's why he goes to the NASDAQ, by the way, because NASDAQ's number is smaller, because Biden trounces him in the Dow.
blow that away, and maybe the numbers won't show, but I think they're going to show much better than even those numbers. But what you're going to see is you're going to see activity, that empty, dead sites, factories that are falling down. Those factories will be knocked down, and they're going to have brand new factories.
They're going to knock down. He's starting to Carol Channing. It's happening. He's starting to
Factories that are falling down. Those factories will be knocked down, and they're going to have brand.
They're knocked down. Jesus Christ! I think he shit his pants. I don't even know that was a mouth noise.
Sites, factories that are falling down. Those factories will be knocked down, and they're going to have brand new factories built in there.
They're going to be knocked down. Sure as you're sitting there, Larry, Paul, Jimmy, whatever your name is. Where's J.D. Vance?
Place. They're not only talking about renovating, they're talking about brand new, the best anywhere in the world, the biggest anywhere in the world. I have a friend.
They're talking about it? Oh, well, I feel much better about it. Let me know when they start writing checks.
Bill's car plants, and I said, I want to see the biggest and the best. He said, well, we have to go to Mexico. I said, no, I want to see it in the United States. He said, we're not building them in there. This is a year and a half ago during the campaign. He said, we're not building it. You'd have to go to Mexico. When I was starting to decide to run, and I went to number 1 in the polls very rapidly, I want to say, like let's say in the first hour, and then shortly thereafter, it looked like I was going to win, and the fake news was saying, "Oh no, don't do this." What they don't know is if I didn't win, they would have really been in trouble, because nobody wants to read them anyway. But I tell you what, when I
yes. I'm sure they root for apartment fires and mass shootings because it sells toilet paper ads.
When it looked like I was going to win, I announced that I was going to be doing exactly what we're talking about today. Great consistency, actually, because I've been talking about it for 40 years. But because I saw what was happening 40 years ago. If you look at my old speeches when I was young, very handsome. My old speeches, and that people would say I'd be on a television show, I'd be talking about how we were being ripped off by these countries. I mean, nothing changes very much. The only thing that changed were the countries.
Also, he was never attractive, conventionally or otherwise. You don't have to be conventionally attractive to be attractive, but he's always been repulsive. If this asshole didn't have money, he probably would have died alone already.
But nothing really changes. But it's why it's such an honor. It's such an honor to be finally able to do this. If you look at China, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in my term, hundreds of billions. They never paid 10 cents to any other president.
Again, Trump thinks that when people tell him about the company Tencent, that we've never been able to, stop them or tariff Tencent because it's a digital a digital company. Trump thinks that when somebody else told him about Tencent, that no American president has been able to bring down Tencent, because of course we've had multiple tariffs in the past with millions and billions of dollars. It's just dumb. He just doesn't understand. He thinks asylum seekers are from insane asylums. He thinks transgenic mice are transgender. He thinks transhumanism is transgender for everybody. And he thinks not being able to find Tencent in the United States or undermine it or whatever the plan the Hollies of the world wanted to do means that nobody's ever gotten 10 cents from them. Oy.
And yet they paid hundreds of billions, so much so that Biden couldn't do anything. They wanted to try and terminate it because he had a very special relationship with China. You know what the relationship was? He had a special relationship. But the numbers...
He was harder on China than you were.
...were so big. The numbers were so big that they couldn't do it. So
they raised them. And again, these reciprocal sort of tariffs actually benefit China.
So they did ease it up. They did things that they shouldn't have done. They made it a lot more comfortable for them, but
bullshit.
They couldn't do it because the numbers were hundreds of billions of dollars, and I did that. And we were on our way to doing something like incredible. And
on our way.
Then we had a very bad election happen, a very bad election. A lot of bad things happened. So.
You mean COVID?
When I said we got to do it again, I said we have to make it too big to rig, and we made it too big to rig, and we won in records, and it was a monumental win.
And yeah, it's a hair's breadth in the House and the Senate, and obviously you're having to executive order everything. Sounds like a mandate to me.
And it was such an honor to see so many of you, like Brian and your friends, here with us to celebrate and to more importantly celebrate what we're doing, because that wouldn't be a full celebration if we didn't do this, because this will be an entirely different country in a short period of time. It'll be something the whole world will be talking about.
Oh, I apologize. By the way, I should have put this up earlier. This is my mistake. Do I have? Yeah. I should have warned everybody. Yeah. I got to set up a button for this at some point. There you go. Yeah, in the future, occasionally it's because the mic was in the way most of the time, but it sometimes he ducks out behind it after from this point on when he walks over on the stage and waves to people. So you're probably going to see it. So I just thought I'd warn you up front if I can. So just letting you know. All right.
About it. The critics made the very tired predictions earlier this year, but in February, core inflation dropped to the lowest rate in 4 years.
Core inflation?
And the price of eggs, as you know, just in a month and a half, we were there for 4 weeks. And The first week.
Okay, hold on. Let's see. Da-da-da. Yeah, the price. All this. There you go. Hold on. Command plus. I just gotta make this. Yes, egg prices are falling, but there's a catch. They're going to have to implement all these biotech security things because the Trump administration wants to go back to giving everybody get out of here, vaccinating all the chickens again. Yeah, that's right. Vaccines. They're going to give chickens the jab. The egg shortage may have finally been cracked. The price of wholesale eggs again, fell down $3 a dozen. The U.S. Department of Agriculture reported their weekly egg market report. That's a 9% decline from the week before. Supply situation at grocery store outlets has greatly improved in recent weeks, and consumers are once again seeing fully stocked shelves. This should be welcome news for consumers. Egg shortages and higher prices have plagued them for months. February, the price of a dozen eggs hit a 10-year high. The egg market seems to be on the upswing, while the avian flu has killed 30 million egg-laying birds this year. 2025, this year, already. Bert Olson, an economist at the American Farm Bureau Federation, says the price drop is largely due to a sharp decrease in cases of avian flu, and with just 2.1 million birds affected in March of this year, compared to 23 million in January and nearly 13 million in February. America's poultry farmers have put in the work to tighten biosecurity, and they continue to strive to protect their flocks. Demand has also fallen as consumers got tired of paying higher prices, giving suppliers the chance to build back supply. Lower prices have followed. I think the story is over eggs right now. Is over on eggs right now. We got plenty of eggs coming in. Leonard says he was selling eggs for $10 a dozen in December, but today they're retailing at $6. We're back to low prices again. There seem to be plenty of supply. Again, if you go to fucking Costco, holy shit. Like I buy my eggs in these like these 18 racks. Not like this many, obviously, but you get the point. Trump is taking credit for the falling thing. We could get it down. He's touted the administration's $1 billion investment in combating the avian flu, wholesale egg prices, blah, blah, blah. Price increase. And the other thing is that they're going to have to pay for at some point all these biotech things. The other thing too is that they imported a bunch of Turkish eggs, eggs from, U.S. imports. Imports eggs from Turkey, not turkey eggs. Yes. This is how they did it. Yes, the United States is importing eggs from Turkey to help address an egg shortage and rising prices caused by the bird flu outbreak, with Turkey set to export around 420 million eggs to the United States this year. And I'm proud to be an American where we each lay our own fucking eggs. Dunk. Here's more. Severe bird flu outbreak has disrupted egg production. The U.S. is looking to import eggs from Turkey to help alleviate the shortages, lower prices. Turkey is a major egg exporter and has agreed to export a significant number of eggs to the U.S., with Egg Producers Central Union coordinating the shipments. Turkey plans to export around 15,000 tons of eggs to the U.S., equivalent to 700 containers, between February and July 2025, valued at approximately $26 million. I don't know if Turkey was on the list of tariffed countries. I wonder if they're going to get a break. I wonder if Turkey's going to get a secret, get secret support. Where are they? Stupidness. What's Turkey's point on the list? Are they on there? Turkey, 10%. Turkey just gets 10%. They get a total break. Turkey has got no problems. All right.
I got blamed for eggs. I said, I just got here. They said eggs have gone up at like 250% and you can't get eggs. And they were going crazy. And I said, I just got here. And then we got to work on eggs. And we got to work on everything. And our great...
Are you going to tell them you imported tons of eggs from turkey to drive the price down artificially?
Secretary of Agriculture, you did a fantastic job, Brooke Rollins.
Yes, I didn't even know you knew where Turkey was.
She did a fantastic job. And
coordinating Turkish eggs being, which again, a Turkish egg sounds like a. I mean, I know what a Turkish breakfast is, but don't look it up.
as I said before, the price of eggs dropped now 59%, and they're going down more, and the availability is fantastic.
Because he's subsidizing them, they're buying them under the table.
They were saying that for Easter, please don't use eggs. Could you use plastic eggs? I said, we don't want to do that. We want to, and you really came through. It's an amazing job. Thank you very much, Brooke. You did great. But likewise, an old-fashioned term that we use, groceries. I used it in the campaign. It's such an old-fashioned term, but a beautiful
No, it isn't.
term, groceries. It sort of says a bag with different things in it.
Fuck me. Yeah, no, he's not an out-of-touch second-generation rich kid.
Groceries went through the roof, and I campaigned on that. I talked
With eggs and with manufacturing jobs.
about the word grocery.
This is almost over.
For a lot. And energy costs now are down. Groceries are down. Gasoline is way under $3, and people are.
Nope. Hold on. We just did gas. Hold on. Was the it's way back when I was looking at the other shit. Hold on. Let's see. It's sorry, what is it again? He said what?
Beginning to groceries are down, gasoline is way under $3, and people are.
Gasoline is way under $3. Now it's down a bit from a year ago, but it's not under 3 at all. And it's going up because it rises in the spring, it gets worse in the summer. No.
Are beginning to be able to buy things and live again. We brought prices way down.
Yes, none of us were able to live for the last 4 years. We could barely breathe.
Created 10,000 already in a few weeks, new manufacturing jobs, and it was that took place in 1 month. Numbers that they haven't seen in a long time. We had virtually no.
Yes, nobody's seen it in forever. Nobody can believe it.
Inflation under my term. We had virtually no inflation for 4 years, but after.
Yeah, we did. We had regular inflation, and then the economy collapsed. So adding it all up, it looks like you had negative inflation. You had deflation. But what you had effectively was the potential collapse of the economy, and then inflation followed by disinflation, because prices, while they won't go back to normal, they rise at a slower rate.
Transitioning over to Sleepy Joe, it went from almost non-existent to the highest in the history of our country.
Gee, it's I can't remember what was happening that was extraordinary in the world that might have had something to do with supply chains that might have caused supply shock.
They're the highest inflation in the history of our country. Brought up.
No, they didn't. But also, all the other times you're talking about inflation, there wasn't a giant pandemic right before.
By energy and bad spending and bad policy and a lot of bad things.
And a worldwide pandemic
happened. How about allowing millions and millions and millions of people to pour into our country with open borders, where it's so sad to see even now. And I see our great secretary of You Have Done. Stand up, please, Christy.
Secretary of You Have Done.
Stand up.
Oh, yes. Secretary in charge of Old Yeller.
And Tom Homan. These are people.
Yeah. Entire airplanes with 17 people in them. Weren't we promised millions of people rounded up in this most extraordinary thing on day one? Which we now know day one is 100 days.
Doing a great job.
Or more. Or maybe not at all.
But gotten them out in records. We have problems with judges that don't want them to go out. They want Tarrrrific. And
they do. Who doesn't? I mean, it's spicy, but it still has flavor. Tarrrrific. trendy rock wall. It's the one that you go down and you climb a rock wall, and it's got like hippie oat stuff and like Mumford and Sons music.
They
is
want
playing.
MS-13, the most vicious gangs ever. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Absolute killer gang.
Hitler, the brown shirts, maybe.
They kill people. They don't even think about it. And we put
Really? It's just automatic. They're like sharks.
them out, and we have judges now,
Trendy rock wall.
radical left judges that want to, they don't want them to go out. They want them to even be brought back. Let's bring them back. You've done a fantastic job, and please thank everybody. Homeland Security, thank everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank them. Yes.
And we now have a border that's the best border that we've ever had, even better than it was my first term. My first term we did good, but this one we really specialized in. We've done really well. And we had records then. We had the best, safest border. 4 years ago, we had the best border there ever was. And now
4 years ago, Biden was president. Also, thanks, COVID.
we have, you've actually matched it and done even better. And we're going to get it down the right way. And we want people, by the way, to come into our country, but we want them to come in through a legal process. We want them to come in
legally white.
Legally. We need more people. We need people to run these plants and to help the auto workers and the Teamsters and
Sorry, we need foreigners to run these plants?
Non-union people and everybody else, but we need people and the farmers. And we're going to let people come in, but they want to come in. We want them to come in legally. They have to have the capability of loving our country, not people that hate our country. We don't want them in our country.
They have to have doesn't everyone have the capability of loving our country? Some of them just don't.
And now we're going to pass the
really boring.
largest tax cuts in American history, and that's what
Right, you want to talk about blowing a hole in the fucking deficit and the debt.
we're relying on Mike and John Thune. And we will not cut Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid benefits. And the Democrats
So you haven't looked at their bills at all, not even the executive summary?
will, because if they got in, the entire economy would collapse. This country was heading for a collapse under the people that you saw.
So when it collapses because of what you do, it'll be like, this is just leftover collapse that was going to happen anyway.
Were horrible. I think one of the reasons
Horrible.
people like the job.
Horror.
My highest approval ratings because I think they're comparing me to the worst administration in the history of our country. So I appreciate that at least. But Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and Senate Majority Leader, appreciate it, Mike. John Thune have been fantastic, by the way.
Yes, they have two battling bills that neither one of them could get passed in either of their own chambers.
But they've been working.
And so you had to fucking pass a CR.
Working tirelessly on taking the next step to pass the plan for our one big beautiful bill. I'd like to name it that if you can. One big beautiful. I made.
Oh my fucking God. No, you're not going to call it the one big beautiful bill. Master of all media.
That statement about 6 months ago, and everybody calls it one big beautiful bill. And it will be that. It'll have everything, the big tax cuts and every incentive there is. And it'll be fantastic. And by the way, for the cars, we're asking for an interest deduction on a loan. So if you build the car, only in America we do it, Brian. If the car's not built in America, you don't get the interest rate deduction. But if you build the car in America, if you buy a car, if it's built in America, then you get an interest rate deduction, tax deduction, and that's a big thing. That's going to be a big thing. I think that's.
What if it's a used car that was built a long time ago, but it's on an American lot being sold by an American that bought it with American dollars, and they're, fuck me.
Going to pay for itself very quickly, that deduction.
Totally. It's going to, absolutely. People are going to buy so many fucking cars.
Never happened. We've never had anything like that before. Somebody said, where do you get the idea? Because it's so basic. You would think that would have happened a long time ago.
It does. They do it through the federal government doing loan guarantees for the car companies, for the big three.
It never did, and I'm very happy it didn't because now I can say that was my idea. But we're going to get us closer to the debt extension. We have to get the debt extension passed, and I know you're going to.
The debt extension. It sounds so much better when you put it that way. The debt extension. Yes, push for the debt extension. You guys should bring that up a lot. He means the raising the debt ceiling. I like it. You're right, master of all media. Debt extension. Call it what you're seeking is a debt extension. Sell that to the American people. It's going to go over like gangbusters.
Be able to do that, Mike.
Like no one's ever even seen before, ever.
And it's very important that you do that. And all of the other things that the Senate budget plan gives us, along with working, because I know they're working together, John and Mike, and the two bills are going very well together. We need to get our shared priorities done, including certain permanent tax cuts. We want the tax cuts to be permanent, spending cuts, energy and historic investments in defense, border, and so much more. We're covering.
So you're going to cut entitlements, cut taxes, and expand the military and border patrol. Again, he's turning us into a gated community in The Walking Dead. Like, what was that, season 5 or 6, when they found a little town and built a giant fucking colonial wall around it?
Everything. These will be phenomenal. There'll be no bill like this going to straighten. One bill is going to straighten out our country for many, many years to come. And we said, let's just do it and let's.
It's a budget, fuckwad. No, it won't.
Get it done. And some guys will love it and some guys will like it a little bit less because they're not getting what they were exactly looking for, but they're getting a lot.
Not exactly what they were. What were they exactly looking for? Not adding $4 to $7 trillion to the fucking national debt in a year. That's what they were looking for. So they're not getting exactly that. They're getting exactly the fucking opposite.
They'll never, if we get this done, it'll be the most incredible bill ever passed in the history of our Congress and Senate.
Oh my fucking God. Like, just the nerve. Dude, don't even go there. It's a budget. It's not the Civil Rights Act, which you have members of your party actively overturning. They actively are against it. They campaign against the existence of it.
And congressmen, the senators and the congressmen, many of whom are here today, will be very proud of themselves. I really believe that.
Yeah, they'll be really proud of themselves. You know, like the cellist on the Titanic. I sound fucking awesome. I would just, you know, I'm really nailing it tonight.
Gonna set us on a whole new prosperous path. We're going to cut spending and right-size the budget back to where it should be.
Right-sizing. See, that's how you cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid without saying you're cutting Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. We're not cutting it. We're right-sizing it. That's not Washington politic speak. Thank God there's somebody who's he talks just like me. I say right-sizing all the time.
We're going to do that very strongly. Thank you, Rick. Thank you. John, thank you. Oh, look at all of our senators over there. Oh, boy. That's a nice group of people. But I won't like them so much if they don't get this bill done.
Ugh. God damn. By the way, I feel like a secondary warning. Well, I mean, ultimately, I think this is the bigger warning. Where are the Epstein files? I mean, this is a great distraction if you need one. I don't know why you would. Hashtag Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. Anytime they say Russia, 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 your response is hashtag Epstein, Epstein, Epstein.
That's a great group. And Congressman, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Mr. Congressman, Mr. Congress guy from the Congressy thing.
Tremendous people. The Senate plan is my complete and total support, and the House plan likewise is very similar. They're
yeah, but you got to pick one, motherfucker.
Moving along pretty much at the same clip, and as soon as you're ready, you'll show it to me, and I'm sure it'll have my support, Mike.
They've been trying to pass it, stupid. They had it before the CR. They've got both of them, and they collide. They conflict.
Every Republican congressman and senator.
Every Republican congressman. Good God, man. Again, this is I guess this is like speed saliva. Is that what's happening? when you're.
Show it to me, and I'm sure it'll have my support, Mike. Every Republican congressman and
Oh God, you can't even say Republican. Republican. How do you even do that? How do you salivate while saying Republican? Republican. Republican. Yeah.
ready, you'll show it to me, and I'm sure it'll have my support, Mike. Every Republican congressman and
Oh God, so nasty.
senator must unify. We have to unify. We can't be separated. We have to get it done. We have to get absolutely everything we can, and we have to take care of the American people. That's the only thing that matters. We have to take care of the American people first. We need to pass this bill immediately. Get it done, including debt extension.
There are two bills. They conflict, stupid. One of them has two bills, the other one has a single bill, and the two bills and the one bill conflict with each other on a lot of points, especially the tax cuts, stupid.
From this day on, we're not going to let anyone tell us that American workers and families cannot have the future that they deserve. We're going to
Well, nobody is. It just seems to think that you think they deserve poverty.
produce the cars and ships, chips, airplanes, minerals, and medicines that we need right here in America. The pharmaceutical companies are going to become roaring back. They're coming roaring back. They're
Yes, everyone was worried about big pharma, right? Everybody was so concerned. But what'll happen to the pharmaceutical companies? Those poor companies. They were doing so well.
all coming back to our country, because if they don't, they got a big tax to pay. And if they
Sorry, you're going to tax medicine now. Yeah, like Americans are going to pay higher prices for fucking medicine if it's not made in the United States.
do, I'll be very happy, and you're going to be very happy, and you're going to be very safe. We're going to build our future with American hands, with American heart, American steel, and we're going to
American buttholes.
build it with American pride like we used to.
Yeah, good old American pride. The pride of America, where you could go to work and have your fingers blown off on the same level as a nice 4th of July. It was so patriotic. It was like fucking with fireworks or working your regular job. Same injury.
We're approaching our 100th day as president, and have been given credit by
So are we.
a lot of people, actually, even some of the fake news. Can you believe it? Which in this case, hopefully,
No. Gibberish.
isn't fake, for having done more in that time than any other administration in the history of our
No, they were saying moron. You misheard them.
country in the first 100 days. I think we've had an amazing, in terms of what we've done, what we've gotten accomplished. Like to see if we can get that war ended and another war.
What war? Did that end like in November? Like November 6th or something, right? That's been over since then. One phone call.
From not starting in the Middle East. We have
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant the Houthi war, which apparently is escalating, or your war with Iran, which is also escalating.
to
But
get Russia. They're losing 2,000 on average, 2,500 people a day, young people, soldiers, Russian. Think of that, 2,500 through some days, but on average, probably over about a 1 week period, it's 2,712, they say.
what? No, they don't. It's average 2,712 per week because of how many? Because you're losing 2,000 a day. This is the kind of math that concerns us all.
1 week period, it's 2,000
Hold on, back up one more. Because the math is fucking
soldiers,
giving me a
Russian.
nosebleed.
Think of that,
thinking of it.
2,500 through some days, but on
2,500 through some days.
average, probably over about a 1 week period, it's 2,712, they say.
So it averages, 2,500 a day gives you an average of 2,712 over the week. This is not making me feel better about your percentages in terms of the tariffs.
They're losing those soldiers. They're dying. They're being decimated. And they're not from our country, but they're from other countries. But they're
Yeah, that's how foreign wars often work.
human beings. They're from Russia. They're from Ukraine in this period, most of them. And we're going to get it.
Well, there are some North Koreans and some Chechens and then some people who've been abducted from Kazakhstan.
Stopped. It's a senseless war that would have never happened if I was president. And
Well, then why isn't it stopping?
it shouldn't be allowed to go on.
It shouldn't be allowed to go on. Well, fucking stop it then, I guess. Pull the plug. Tough guy. And also to the Kazakhs that are being pulled. Sorry.
And I think we're being given good cooperation by Russia and
We're being given good cooperation by Russia.
by Ukraine, but we have to get it stopped. It's humanity. It's humanity. It's a terrible thing.
It's humanity. It's humanity. It's a terrible thing. Yes, I agree. Humanity is a terrible thing, and it must be stopped. What?
This will be a very big
Yes?
moment. I think you're going to remember today.
Huge.
It's going to be free.
Oh, believe me, I'm going to remember today because I remember things in general. I'm not going to remember it because, oh my God, that's the day we turned a corner. Unless we were like, well, shit, this is, I don't know what, this becomes this might actually, you might be right. This might become the official I told you so day. From this point on, I declare this day, I told you so day. An official holiday where you get to go up to these dumb motherfuckers after they've wrecked shit and go, I told you so. It's a National FAFO Day.
Nation that we're dealing with. We're going to have a very free and beautiful nation.
Unlike now.
It's going to be Liberation Day in America, and it's going to be a day
It's going to be? Isn't it already?
that hopefully you're going to look back in years
Hopefully.
to come and you're going to say, you know, he was right. This has turned out to be one of the most important days in the history of our country. God bless you and God bless America. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Jesus Christ. This was what a fucking nothing burger. Like, just a fucking...
Thank you very much.
Bye. I got to shit. See you later.
Captain's log.
He left. He forgot to sign the thing. He wandered off, and they're like, "You got to sign the thing, our big fake bullshit proclamation." Oh, fuck me. Otherwise, it can't go into effect by midnight, and we'll turn our whole trade system will turn into a fucking pumpkin.
Good afternoon, y'all. We have two documents prepared for the president's signature today. One closes what's referred to as the de minimis loophole with respect to imports from the
So they're going to close the de minimis loophole, which Republicans, one of the jam-ups about their budget was that they didn't want to close this. Democrats were trying to.
The other is the big one, is the reciprocal tariff executive order that the president just spoke about at length.
Well, the pussification of reciprocal, the wussy reciprocal, the weak need. It's half-ass reciprocal, I think is what somebody said in the chat. Yeah.
This is obviously a huge deal, and it's been an honor.
Obviously. Well, it's half a huge deal, I think.
Yeah. Part of your team getting
This is big stuff.
This is great stuff. It's a big one, with the thing upside down. Who was that?
Captain's log.
I know who it was. Quit it. Knock it off.
That's a 10. That's a big one. Right.
That's a pen. That's a big one, huh? Okay, he's doing his little like fucking glad handing bullshit where he holds the thing up and yada yada yada. Now, so we made it through, kids. This is a waste of fucking time, and then he'll say goodbye again. They don't have his mic on anymore. As he's walking, he just can't wait to get the fuck out of there. That's it. We made it. We got through the whole fucking thing. I appreciate you guys. And almost like just at the end of the regular show, I had to start an hour early. Sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit, and I held it as long as I could. Now the question is, will this work, ladies and gentlemen? Damn, Chip. All right. I'm not the only one asking this. It was boring. It was weak. It was half-assed. There will be all sorts of workarounds. It starts with this baseline thing, but they'll be able to negotiate their way out of it and yada, yada, yada. Thank you for the blessings. I appreciate it. So real quick, can we jump into a couple of things? Just a couple of little things. So I know you're going to hate me for this, but will Liberation Day work? Will Trump's Liberation Day, and it's, I think he has Steve Forbes on.
Stephen Moore, my good friend. How are you, sir?
Oh, Stephen Moore. That's right. Dennis Moore, riding through the land.
Stephen, are you there?
Good morning.
How are you, man?
Hi, Glenn. Great to be with you.
Thank you very much. Today is Liberation Day. How you feeling?
Well, I think it's a Liberation Day, but I'm feeling a little maybe Trepidation Day as well. We'll see what that announcement is. I'll be out there at the Rose Garden at 4, so I don't know exactly the details. I don't think anybody does except Donald Trump at this point. Look, I'm a free trade guy. I understand that the benefits of countries trading with each other benefits both countries.
Also, look, it's bad enough we have to deal with a small picture of Stephen Moore, which is torture, but we have to have it on screen at the same time with fucking Cowboy Beck. Doc, holy shit.
But I would say,
I'm you dingleberry. Sorry.
On the other hand, because this really is a debate where I could go on, either side of it.
Yeah.
Trump does have a very important point, Glenn, which is that a lot of people don't understand. And you've got a wise listenership, but a lot of Americans don't understand that we are the lowest tariff country in the world right now, among all the major trading partners. And what Trump is simply saying is it's not a level playing field. It's not fair. These other countries are not playing by the rules, and they need to trade with the United States, so they better get their act together. They better start treating us fairly, or he's going to hit them with these tariffs. Now, there is going to be some...
No, he's just hitting everybody with a 10% tariff no matter what.
Yeah, I've been listening to you.
No, I think, isn't that Stu right there? Stu's over there.
For the last 10, 15 minutes. You're right, Glenn. There will be some costs to Americans in terms of buying...
I was told that was bullshit left-wing propaganda.
Cars, and we might see a little rise in prices of things.
Oh, okay. But just, prices of things. You mean like stuff that exists in reality in terms of things? Like how everything is a thing that's a thing? Things.
Trump describes this as, short-term pain for long-term gain. And I think it's for every American to kind of figure
Yes, and he should know, as a man who never goes to the gym,
out where they stand on this right now. I'm a little bit worried about it, but I will say this. Trump is the single best negotiator I've ever met in my life. And I think in the end, he will prevail.
So is he going for just a strange level playing field? I mean, you can't say it's a free market because there are tariffs involved. But if our tariffs are only reflecting everybody else's, then it is a free market, if you will. Just trying.
Yeah, that's how free markets work. That's exactly it. Yeah, reciprocal tariffs is what makes a free market.
To bring everything level up to the, the place where everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if you and I are both choking each other, we have essentially free breathing because we're both constricting each other's throats at the same level. You know what I mean? So
Else is that the goal here, which would lead me to believe there might be some short-term effects because we could turn the negotiation.
Oh, you're not even sorry, dipshit. You're afraid to use the word pain?
Power on pretty quickly. Or is he trying to bring manufacturing back, which is, I mean, I think he's calling it Liberation Day because it harkens back to World War II. And he's
and he's a huge student of history.
Liberating us from almost everything that we
economic Nazism
he set up.
We had our economic Pearl Harbor during the Biden years when we had almost full employment.
Right after World War II. He's saying effectively with almost every category.
Effectively. Basically, if I could translate from fuckwit to English.
All of that stuff is broken and we can't do that anymore.
A lot of people don't know.
Oh, look, this is, by the way, this is the Addy.
That I'm a painter and I gave up painting because of
because people who like painting begged you to. And also, as a habitual masturbator, you were like, Jesus Christ, I thought Trump had stumpy little weird hands.
Realizing pain in my hands. I was losing.
All right, and I don't know why they're playing. Some asshole just being rude by finger picking a guitar to show that your hands don't work anymore. What an asshole.
Not going to be part of this global thing anymore. We're going to bring manufacturing back here, and that's
we're not going to be part of this. What's it called? Earth. That's right. We're done with that shit. So, by the way, I'm not going to show you the whole thing because I don't fucking care. But I don't think there's anything serious in regards to any of these assholes. That's the thank you from the Sparkler. The list is this. Just figured out. Okay. I see. So James Surowiecki said, hold on, let me try to break this out. Hold on. Save image. Excellent. Trump trade shizzle. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pop this up because I think it's worth doing. Okay, save. And then, let's go to this guy. Thanks, Mark Kremer, for this. Real quick, we'll go to this. Dow, come here, you silly thing. Dow futures tumble more than 950 points on fear Trump's tariffs will spark a trade war. U.S. stock futures cratered as President Trump unveiled sweeping tariffs on at least 10% and even higher for some other countries because there is no rhyme or reason to this. It is simply this kind of blanket idea that he can bail himself out of the debt he created by putting it on the backs of everyone else. In the meantime, this is, let me stretch this out so people can see this as well. Boink, 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 boink. There we go. This is from James Surowiecki. Just figured out where these fake tariffs come from. They didn't actually calculate tariffs and rates plus non-tariff barriers as they said they did. Instead, for every country, they just took our trade deficit with that country and divided it by the country's exports to us. So we have a 17.9 billion trade deficit with Indonesia. Its exports to the U.S. are 28 billion. 17.9 divided by 28% equals 64%, which Trump claims is the tariff rate Indonesia charges us. It's just a bunch of bullshit. It's important to understand that the tariff rates that foreign countries are supposedly charging are just made up numbers. South Korea, with which we have a trade agreement, is not charging a 50% tariff on U.S. exports, nor is EU charging a 39% tariff. This is fucking garbage. even given that it's Trump, I can't believe they said, we'll just divide the trade deficit by imports and tell people that's the tariff rate. And then they decided to set our tariffs just by cutting that totally made up rate in half. It's so dumb and deceptive. I mean, I think that the problem, James, is that dumb and deceptive is like, they consider that a compliment. That's feature, not a bug stuff with these dumbasses. By the way, that's Ty Tabor tuning his guitar. It's just a picture I put on my browser just because I like it. Good man. Yeah, Turkish eggs wear little hats. So kids, tomorrow I'll regular show, but later in the day. And let me just say that we will see like the blowback from this stuff, and we'll see what the temperature on this, how short this short-term pain can possibly be before maggots especially, but Republicans start to squeal. Because there's going to be, well, we'll see what he did this after markets closed. So we will know tomorrow morning how markets think this. Show us your browser history. It's rather boring because I have you can have these separate browser things, and it's all the shit I've watched with you guys. So, yeah, here you go. You want to see? There you go. Let's see there. Yeah, here you go. Live now, HalSparks, because I was loading myself in. Snapchat, trying to open it up so I can use the lenses, and it's not quite working yet. Stream Fog, which doesn't work on a Mac. Houthis threaten U.S. with advanced defenses. Apple chip fab, blah, blah, blah. Like, all this stuff is just... I'm sorry it's not more exciting. But I use my computer for work, and I do all my play in my head. So, all right. Did I go away? What happened? Okay. Can't wait for this shit to hit the fan. Well, that's what they're talking about. So here's the thing. That short-term pain, I think the good example of it is the Tesla stuff. How long are the meme investors in Tesla going to assume that his bullshit story is, this nonsense? That Tesla is really a software company and robotics are going to play a bigger part than the cars. We're going to get out of the car market and we're going to make even more money. It's just fucking stupid. Like, hold on, let me just reload this page because that whole, he wasn't live anymore after that point. So it's kind of frozen on that page. And this is the other one. Globally, nobody in the United States is buying a BYD, a burn your driveway electric car, which are all basically knockoffs of Teslas, but their chargers are supposedly super fast and way faster than the Tesla chargers. But there's no way we're going to have them in the United States because you can't trust them. Also, we need to move beyond lithium ion anyways. But this is not good. This is not good for Tesla in general, and their biggest market outside the United States, which is China. But China has no, internally, they're doing the same thing Trump is arguably doing. Want to see this before we, okay. Okay. I will look at the staff and the chat thing. Senate Republicans buck Trump, join Dems in rejecting the Canada tariff. Oh, nice. Okay. Visit the news. I'll bring this up here and we can take a look at it. Yeah, this is going to be a problem because of all the states this involves for him. Senate Republicans buck Trump join Dems in rejecting Canada tariffs to continue. I'm not going to download the smart news thing. Hold on. I'll find this in it. Anyways, boink. Grab this. Whoops. Because it's on Politico. They borrowed it from there. I hate when other news sites want to charge you for articles that aren't theirs. Let's see. GOP lawmakers rejected a pressure campaign from the Trump administration to adhere to party loyalty on Liberation Day. The Republican-led Senate has delivered a rare rebuke of Trump and his signature agenda. Senators voted 51 to 48 Wednesday to reject the national emergency Trump declared earlier this year to justify his plans to slap 25% tariffs on Canadian imports. The vote took place after Trump delivered remarks from the Rose Garden. Fuck that. Oh, my God. That's fantastic. 51-48, and they have a bigger margin in the fucking Senate. Susan Collins, Mitch McConnell, Lisa Murkowski, and Rand Paul all joined Democrats to back a resolution for Virginia Democratic Senator Tim Kaine of Clinton-Kaine fame that would end the national emergency. Paul of Kentucky co-sponsored the measure. The dissent from the handful of Senate Republicans is purely symbolic. Speaker Mike Johnson has already moved to prevent a floor vote in his chamber to end this type of national emergency upon which Trump is relying to levy his tariffs. Still, the vote stands as the first major break with Trump since the start of his second term. The other thing, too, is that the House isn't bringing anything to the floor. So it's not like he did something special. There's an argument that they will end it on the down low. If they could do that vote in secret, they'd do it in a fucking second. And Rand Paul's just a free trader and doesn't like government rules at all. So you can kind of always count on him in those situations to just, he's not like bucking his party loyalty or anything. He doesn't actually give a fuck. Just saying. But look at Tim Kaine. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Rand Paul sometimes votes with Democrats if he thinks it can undercut executive power and those kind of things, which makes him a wild card that you can use. He's like an Uno card where you can reverse the state of play from clockwise to counterclockwise. Yeah, if you use it right, you could pressure him. And James Reid, Trump's top legislative aide, even took to the Hill Monday in an attempt to assuage Republicans anxious about the potential ramifications. It's not going to work, by the way. Collins, for instance, has previously expressed concerns about the ramifications of them on our home state of Maine, whose economy and core industries such as lobstering, pulp and paper, and potatoes and blueberries is integrated with that of its bordering nation. What they're going to end up doing, what Trump is going to end up having to do, and he's going to do it behind the scenes because he's a fucking wuss, is there are going to be so many fucking carve-outs and loopholes in this shit. That it'll look like fucking Swiss cheese meets onion skin. There's no way his red states can survive this shit. Blue states can. That's the weird part. But red states are fucked in this situation, and they know it. So he's going to have to put so many, carve-outs of it. He's going to have to do all the carve-outs on the down low. He's just they're going to do all these like quiet executive orders without a signing ceremony that just automatically, and they post them on on the whitehouse.gov website way fucking down in a corner, like 9 links down. Because if they don't, they're screwed. Like the farmers are fucked. This is not going to help them. So again, this is the fight that will have to happen, and it's not because Republicans are finally getting a spine or understanding that he's wrong. It's total self-interest, and I don't expect them to ever have a moral awakening. But it's enough that they just recognize that they have self-preservation reasons to not join in on this shit from a voter standpoint and from the financial security of their own state. Many of these guys are millionaires. In the Senate, it's pretty common. Most of them are millionaires. Joe Biden was famously the poorest member of the Senate forever. He didn't actually make Senate money till he was fucking vice president. So these guys are not just worried about, oh my God, will I get reelected again? But they're wealthy because of what goes on in their state. That's how they become known in the state. That's how they start making enough money where they can run for office in that state. And they're going to get screwed by this stuff. Do I ever expect them to have a moment where I'm just doing this because it's right? I don't care. I don't know. I don't care. All I need is for them to realize that the butter is on the other side of the bread. I don't need them to fucking have a moral epiphany. Strategically, all we need them to go is, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm going to get fucked if this happens. I don't need them to suddenly start caring about other people. And what's going to happen is what will salvage what Trump is trying to do is going to look a lot like Bidenomics. It's going to look a lot like what he was doing. But it can't involve that fucking tax cut. The tax cut is what blows a $5 to $7 trillion hole in the budget, and we've watched so many I've played it like 3 times so far. The 2 long ones, especially of Mike Johnson's like second in charge coming down and giving these 45-minute fucking TED talk, cries to the heavens about please don't try to pass this fucking tax cut. If you do, we're fucking done for. If you can't find a way to pay for it and you pass it, it's going to blow a hole in the budget, period. And the only way it gets fixed is if a Democrat comes in. I'm just saying, it's going to be I can't wait for radio. Johnny Million. So everybody tell Johnny Million to bone up on these issues, because there's going to be a ton of this stuff that starts hitting the fan by the weekend. Because they go into effect at midnight tonight. So, and I don't know if that's are they going to give an exemption for shit that was bought before midnight that's coming in the shipping, so that they can make it look like that was no big deal. They went into effect on midnight, and the prices didn't go up, right? Which is more than likely what he would like to do. He would like it to it happened weeks later, and now we're on to something else, right about the time he's got to bomb Iran. So buckle up, kids. It's going to be a bumpy ride. And if there's anybody vulnerable around you that's going to get it harder than you, and you can help absorb some of it for them, it's time to be in a community. It's time to take care of the people around you. The tariffs we're not having tariffs on Russia because we are sanctioning Russia. It's just more direct. So that's why they're not included in this shit, because we're not buying anything from them. It's already sanctioned beyond that, and that law is law. Has been written by the House and the Senate and put into law. Biden signed it in, just so you know. So yeah, everybody remind Johnny to do his fucking homework for the weekend, because I don't want to get on a spiral about economics, and his only response can be, math is hard. It doesn't. It's not going to help, and he can't just walk in there and go, "Hello there." All right. By the way, I have a new Elon Musk sound effect too that I think will work well. This is my new, and you guys got to remind me to use it, because I build these things and then I forget to use them. This is my new Rand Paul hairdo sound effect.
Oh, nice Mormon.
Okay, I like that one. I think that'll work. Yeah. And then this is anytime Elon Musk is trying to impress anybody with his new technology.
The Illudium Q36 explosive space modulator.
I think that one works, right? And then for all these dipshits,
oh, hello there,
works great. So I'm trying to build on this thing. I'm trying to build on. Hit the like, everybody, and I'll let you go, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. And again, these are times when, as this shit starts to hit the fan, we want to be able to take care of people. whatever that looks like. Maybe it just means inviting somebody over for dinner, or I don't know, buying them some eggs. I don't know what the fuck you can do for those folks. You can also support the show because this is all I do. This is my thing right now. This is when touring and stuff like that dried up under COVID. I started doing all this stuff, and it's a real thing now. So whatever you guys can do to help support the show, I greatly appreciate it. And at the very least, you can like and subscribe for free. And unless you're on Twitch, in which case, if you have Amazon Prime, it doesn't cost you a dime. I'm just saying. And I think, can we raid Boston Brian? Is he on already? Is Brian up? Brian, get in there, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Get in there. Oh, sorry. Is he up? Is he running? What's going on? I got to move into here. They always jump into creator. There you go. Get it back. He comes up at 8:30, doesn't he? Major in 12 minutes, Boston Brian 8:30. I think it's the same time, right? They overlap. By the way, subscribing on Twitch really does help, and you have to redo it. Everybody always forgets, and I forget to mention it, and that's my ass. I apologize. But I would like to say that for the record, I do have a child and family, and my belly gurgles sometimes during the show. I understand that. Let's start the raid and see if I can toss you over to someplace and see who in our following group who's up currently right now, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, I don't see. Yeah, they'll be up in 12 minutes. So I'm gonna. Okay. Shit, I feel like I should just start staying on another hour. You know what I mean? Like, just get up and right, because we could talk for another 10 minutes. I think it's like 19 minutes till he starts live, right? Can you stream on Blue Sky? I cannot. I can embed, I think, in a post. I think that would be the next big thing. Also, well, shit, let's just chit chat until it's time to send you over there. All right, and I'll do a Twitch raid and send you guys there. Would that work? I'll send you guys over to Boston Brian as soon as he's up. Just somebody let me know. But in the meantime, let me show you. Can I show you some of my own personal fixations? Welcome to Hal's Personal Fixations. All the things that Hal can't get his fucking mind off of because of all the shit that is happening. Let's see, is this one? That's a month ago. Okay, so that's the older one. This one right here. This is
Figure AI's.
Hold on. This is the other thing. Remember I showed you guys the Figure AI robots that were doing kitchen
Robots
stuff?
in action, sorting packages in a logistics hub. They're powered by Helix, a VLA, Vision Language Action model, that combines sight, language, and precise control.
That looks like the post office to me, ladies and gentlemen. That looks like the automation of the post office. This is what you're seeing right here is the post office turning a profit for the first time ever. And it ain't because of Optimus fucking bots. It's, oh, look at that. That's great. These are not Tesla bots. Tesla bots suck. Oh, and we could do a cat. Hold on. We'll do that too as well. But the other thing I want to show you, hold on, give me a second, chat room. And I gotta keep my Twitch page open so I can see it. So that I know when they jump in. You guys gotta let me know when Boston Brian's in there. See, like this is the okay. Oh no, that's the wrong one. I'm just looking stuff up as we go really quickly. So the other big story is Musk is being kicked to the curb. And we talked about that a little bit this morning. But this idea that, like Musk on the fuck interview was he doing? Like the Ted Cruz thing. He's been doing more interviews lately. And the more interviews I see of this dumb fuck, The more, yeah, authorities to go after the general. Okay, that's my footage that I use, which is awesome. He did his little Doge group. We covered that. Hold on.
Tonight we are.
Shut up, lady from Newsmax or what have you. But he went out on this Wisconsin fucking town hall and did this shit. And I gotta say, one of the biggest joys of Susan Crawford winning the Supreme Court race was the fact that this lunkhead fucking came out here and put on his fucking cheese hat and thought that would be enough and did his dumb jump because everything's a fucking meme with these assholes. Standing in front of a giant fucking patent flag, wearing a cheese head, like just trying every possible way to like meme your way to relevance. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Hal, I was very concerned that this guy would have almost a hypnotic power over the voters of Wisconsin because of his great speaking voice and his command of the very linguistic social fabric that our country runs on. No.
All right, I'm gonna sign the hat and I'm gonna throw it out.
Please cause a small riot.
All right.
That should do it. Gee, I can't imagine.
All right, I love you guys too.
Yeah, you know what I love? The quality of the video you're putting out. Motherfucker's a billionaire.
Thank you for coming out in support of this very important Supreme Court race in Wisconsin.
Yes, so important. You lost, dummy.
It's actually something that I think it's one of those things that may seem like it's obviously important in the state of Wisconsin, but I think it could actually be important for the country as well, and maybe for the world. So.
By the way, when he knows that other people know he's bullshitting, he does this weird shoulder thing. SNL. Just notice that, like, you can even have the guy who plays Trump bring it up. I notice whenever I say bullshit, I sniff. He does this whole thing like there's a fucking truth spider on his fucking shoulder. Now, real quick, this is the thing I wanted to show you too, because I'd almost missed him, I gotta say. But Mike Pillow apparently thinks that while Steve Bannon was saying, they got blown out in this race and it's very unnerving because it was way too close. Let's see, where is he? Where are you, stupid son of a bitch? He's in the Trump for pulling vaccine critic. Okay, hold on. Let's see. I'll be able to find Michael Lindell, Wisconsin. Oops. Wisconsin, SCOTUS race, whatever. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Michael Lindell. Is the video on there? Okay. I'm gonna go on it back to here. Hold on. Think. Allow. There we go. Yeah, here we go. This is beautiful. Like I almost felt like we missed this guy. Mike Pillow. Susan Crawford did not win. He says he's investigating the Wisconsin election. And this was on, yeah, here you go. This is the clip. You gotta pop this. I wish this was on YouTube. Load. Oh, there he is. Somebody throwing in their Mike Pillow emojis. Start playing. Loading.
Someone who I think knows a little bit about being targeted by all that is none other than Mike Lindell, who joins us now. Mike, the floor is yours. I'm sure you have some thoughts on what happened last night. But
Also, are Apple people a thing? Who is buff sanding this young lady and then covering her in donut glaze? All right. I just grossed myself out.
more importantly, or I guess equally important,
Look, he took his cross out. Now you know he's really bullshitting.
all the new pillow deals too.
Right on. You know, I'm going to tell everybody, I continue to get attacked. Why? Because I want secure elections.
No, I don't think I want secure elections. Don't you guys want secure elections, chat room? Do you want secure elections? I think secure elections are a good idea. I think securing them against like billionaires fucking around with computers, for example, might be a concern over the next little bit. I would like secure elections. I don't fault anybody for wanting secure elections. Do you? By no means. Yes, it takes a moment for the chat to catch up with what I'm talking about, but I feel you guys are for secure elections. Yes. And that's not the reason we want you to fuck off. Yeah, secure elections rock. Yeah, it's not because of secure elections, motherfucker. It's because they're only insecure when you lose.
Perfect example. Susan Crawford did not win in Wisconsin.
Susan Crawford won the election.
And the media can grab that all
by a lot.
They want. How is it? There's a little bit of a deviation here. They voted.
There is a deviation. I agree. And I normally like a good deviation, but I don't know. I'm on the fence about this deviation.
In voter ID, but yet the candidate that doesn't want voter ID wins. Hello, it doesn't happen.
Oh, sorry. She's not against voter ID, and she's not the candidate who's running on that particular issue. She's running as a SCOTUS. And also, this voter ID allows college students living in Wisconsin to use their college ID as a valid ID, as long as it's a state-accredited college or university. They can use their ID to vote. Did you know that? They also have to have carve-outs for people that if they show up and they don't have an ID, they can vote provisionally, and then to get their vote counted on the permanent record, they have to show ID at a later date, or they have to show up someplace and prove that they're that person. This is not the kind of like draconian, you can only use a state-issued ID or driver's license from that state, your passport, or like an NRA membership card.
My team's digging into it. You guys can check that out. Lindell.
Oh, yeah, we will. Totally. I'm racing to the site. I miss the days when I used to just race over to Lindell.tv or whatever the fuck.
Plan.com. This is just
LindellPlan.com. We're plan on selling more pillows, but it's not working out.
Just to follow up, Mike, can you give us a little bit of insight when you say your
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, are there any actual details?
Team is digging into it. Do they have any leads? Who is investigating it for you?
Leads? Hold on. Wait, now, fuck me. Now I need to actually, this is what happens. I think I'm getting out of here, and then we're so close. All right, so here, and then, whoops, here, no, yes, this one, and then this one, and then this one. I think it'll play. Let's see. I'm going to do this. Wait. This'll, I almost feel like I have to, yeah, now I'm going to have to.
Hey, man, are you going to find these guys? Or, you got any promising leads or?
Leads? Yeah, sure. I'll just check with the boys down at the crime lab. They got 4 more detectives working on the case. They got us working in shifts. Leads.
Okay. So, sorry, I had to find that.
Getting it now. Colonel Conrad Reynolds, I work with him. He's and Will Huff.
Oh yeah, Colonel. He's right up there with Sanders and Klink.
And many of these guys on my election crime bureau, and we're all over this morning.
Oh yeah, they're all over it.
But I'm just getting the numbers here. I'm just getting the numbers of
the lopsided glasses are a nice effect. I really do. I feel like that helps. I feel so much more better about this. I may have to side with him from now on.
Numbers don't lie, and if they don't make sense, you
then it's because numbers don't lie. Then maybe you don't make sense.
You have to look into it, and they don't make sense. She did not win. Period.
Is that what it said on your phone?
She did not win. The first flag is they vote in voter ID. Here's this raging liberal, and and
stop calling me right now with evidence that we need. This is terrible. So stupid. All right. Anyways, so hold on. Now I want to see if I can send you guys over to see if Boston Brian's up and running yet. I've given him an extra 3 minutes. He should be able to find it. Like, give me 1 second. I'll do the raid and we'll send you over there. Following. Let's get him. I'm definitely following Boston Brian. So there he is. Ladies and gentlemen, come on. Let's start this raid. All right. I'm going to send you guys over to Boston Brian. Have a great night. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific time there we go. There, I see him showing up. Okay. 122 viewers. They're going to, you guys, in a minute, I'm going to send you over. If you're on Twitch, by the way, if you're on Twitch, subscribe, will you? Subscribe to my channel and his channel. It helps out. It's kind of like being a member on YouTube. Doesn't cost much, and it's worth a lot more. And I'll just do the raid now. There we go. We're sending you guys over there. Excellent. And I think, did we get in there? Are we raiding him? Did it work? I certainly hope so. So, yep. Off they went. Hooray. Okay. I got to throw a fucking raid in there so everybody knows I'm there. There we go. Okay. Got to put this in here. I got to write something in here. Aw, thank you for subscribing, Salty Sylvester. Accept. There we go. This page needs to be bigger. Good God. Trying to move around on these things. Now I'll let you go. All right. And then where do we go down? There we go. Are we raiding? Did we raid? Did it work? Hold on. Yes? Yes? But it did say Jehovah. I'm just checking again to make sure. Nope, you guys are still there. All right, hold on. Son of a bitch. It used to be so easy. It's so easy to. There we go. There we go. Yeah, we are rated. Okay, good. Hold on. I think we are. There's still some people stuck over on Twitch that didn't make it. 2 seconds, 1 second, 17 more people. More of a raid now. There you go. Raid. Hurrah. Okay. Sparks. Raid. Excellent. Have a great show, everybody. Enjoy our dear friend, Boston Brian. And I'm going to start up my music. And we love you, Val.
I'm your Huckleberry.
That's right.
Would you classify that as a launch problem or a design problem? I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said, I drank what?
Hmm.